streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. Hey, Curtis.
Good morning.
I'm very excited for these wild card series to start, knowing that we can just sit back, relax,
right?
and watch it.
That is
we just get free baseball.
That is the best thing about this week is that those stakes are so low.
So low.
I have never felt more comfortable during a baseball season. Even during the All-Star break, we're still kind of wondering, like, is Julio going to get right? Like, is Cal's swing going to get messed up? And, like, maybe there's going to be some worry come Friday and Saturday. Be like, oh, it's been a long week off. Like, maybe they're going to be a little rusty. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we got to watch baseball. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
My heart rate's going to be
excited.
so even.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do have stairs in my apartment, so that'll throw it off. But, like, otherwise, my heart rate's going to be so steady and so even all week until we get to a very hectic weekend. Before we get to our story that we're actually planning on starting the show with here, I do have one more question about the Mariners. It was not a great series against the Dodgers. I saw some people going like, oh, Cal and Gino, they're just swinging for the fences. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to play for.
There's records, maybe.
Cal will never have another shot to do this. I'm sure he was given I don't know, but I'm sure he was given a green light to be like, yeah, go for it. We don't need to win these games. There's truly nothing you could do outside of your win-loss record. The seeding is locked for both teams. Like, there was nothing at stake. It felt very spring training. I don't know. What do you think from that final series?
People are kind of like, oh, no, they got swept by a really good team. And
no one cares.
It's like both teams had kind of had everything sewn up by the time the weekend started. And yesterday was all about Clayton Kershaw at the ballpark. Like, it was his final regular season start, maybe even his final start, because it doesn't sound like he's going to be in any part of the Dodgers playoff rotation. So, obviously yesterday was going to be his day. The Mariners did a great job of saluting him. And, the moment where Freddie Freeman comes out of the dugout to relieve Clayton Kershaw, I thought was really special, really cool. He tips his cap to the crowd. Great day at the ballpark. No one's hurt. No one's tired going into the week.
No one getting hurt is a win. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned about what we saw over the weekend. And look, you had a shot at winning Friday and Saturday night as well. So when both teams were at full strength, you gave it your best shot, and obviously didn't come through. But I am not concerned heading into this week about where the Mariners are.
Someone said, I know y'all don't want to talk about it, but can I get a SCO Ducks for that Penn State win? No.
No.
All right. He's doing it again. Is John Schneider going to get away with another controversial gamble? That is where we're starting the show today, because I got to talk about Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. We had already had conversations last week after that Thursday night game, Curtis. Brian Walters was in, and we were talking about, hey, this might have been Sam Darnold's best game of the season, and this is actually a wonderful start to the season for Sam Darnold. And if you were someone who did not watch a single Seahawks game and have not seen a snap at all this year, you'd look at the stats and you go, oh, it's fine, and you wouldn't think anything of it. If you were actually watching the games, you'd think, wow, He's not only making some big plays, there's some explosiveness to the pass game with Jackson Smith and Jigba catching each of those longest passes in each game from Darnold, but also he's just looked in command. He's not been freaking out under pressure. The narrative about Sam, that was true. I don't want to say narrative. There was truth to it. Hasn't really come to fruition yet this year. Meanwhile, in Vegas, and by the way, I find the Geno-Pete Carroll combination pretty easy to root for, but meanwhile in Vegas, Geno Smith now has 7 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done, especially through 4 games. He has more interceptions than touchdowns, a 1-3 record, a completion percentage that is 7 points below what it was a year ago when he was completing 70% of his passes with the Seahawks, down to 63.8% of his passes now with the Raiders to start the season. Halfway to his interception total from a year ago, had 15, has 7 through 4 games this season. So, I mean, he's tracking for close to 30 interceptions this season.
He's not going to throw 30 interceptions.
That's what he's tracking for. I'm just saying he's on pace. We didn't think Cal was going to hit 60 home runs. And sure enough, he had 60 home runs right on the dot.
On air saying he's not going to hit 60. I think he was tracking for 61 for a while, so technically
probably
he didn't
like late May around Memorial Day.
I think at one point it was like,
he's not going to hit 60.
Man, that'd be cool if he got to 50. That'd be awesome.
And then lo and behold, he hit 60.
He kept going.
Do you think we're going to have to stop the game mid-game if Geno hits 30 interceptions? Jameis Winston comes out, hands him a crown. It's like, You have been chosen.
He's the Roger Maris going to watch. We're like, we interrupt this broadcast. This is a random like exhibition NBA game.
Jameis Winston hands him a coupon for free LASIK. Here you go.
I don't feel bad for Geno per se.
He got paid. He got
paid.
Hella
He's
paid.
fine.
This house,
And
hella
for the matter,
extremely paid.
Geno Smith is still feeling pretty confident in himself. This is what he told reporters.
Number one, take care of the ball, not throw interceptions. That's the simplest way I can put it to you. First of all, I owe it to my teammates, really, to go out there and play better. I felt like we had a great week of practice. I felt like the process was there. I felt like, I was feeling good about what I was seeing. The game plan was great. Guys fought their tails off. Guys deserve to get this win, and I let those guys down. So there's a lot of things I'm going to have to fix within myself. That's the reality. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I got to be a lot better. And I am a lot better, but it hasn't showed up. The guy that I'm supposed to be hasn't showed up yet. And so, I'll take pride in, fixing this stuff.
Fair answer. What else are you supposed to say? But I think the thing I'm taking away from it is not doing any kind of like, by no means is this a victory lap or gloating about what's going on in another market. Again, I'm rooting for Geno and Pete. I think both of them are a cool pairing. It doesn't affect the Seahawks season whatsoever. It's an interesting story, sure. But it is hard, Curtis, not to watch that game, to watch Geno with three interception games now, and not think, man, the worst case scenario that we thought would happen with Sam Darnold, which is just him falling apart under pressure and throwing interceptions and looking like a horrible version of himself, or the Jets version of himself, as opposed to the Minnesota Vikings version. It might be Geno looking like the Jets version of himself.
I'm saying, yeah. You look at what Geno is doing in a Raiders uniform right now, and imagine the conversations we would be having if this was going on in a Seahawks uniform. If the Seahawks were able to sign him to an extension, get him locked in for 2-3 more years, and he starts off like this, we would be panicking right now, especially if the Seahawks were a 1-3 record, and he had 7 interceptions in 4 games. Like, there would be a lot of panic set in about what the Seahawks were going to do at quarterback. Does Drew Lock get consideration for starting? I think the thing that's helping him out in Vegas is obviously the investments made into Geno this past offseason, but also like who else are you going to go to in Vegas? Aiden O'Connell? Like, are you kidding me? That's not a
absolutely.
That's not a feasible
you have
option.
to stick with Geno.
Oh, absolutely you do, because he's Pete's guy, and I think Pete is absolutely going to keep Geno in there for as long as possible, because those two are so tight. Those two are just so linked over the last half decade or so, however many years it was that they spent here in Seattle. I mean, obviously Geno was backing up Russ for a couple of years before he became starter, so these two go back a number of years, and I don't think Pete's going to pull the plug on him at all. But just getting back to what this means here in Seattle, though, Stacy, this is now, the third time in, 5 years that the Seahawks have made a huge gamble at quarterback, and it has not blown up in their face.
So Russ, Geno, and then Sam. Right.
Not to say that Sam is the franchise or anything, but you have been able to, make it through some choppy waters.
They were in the best case scenario. Well, best case scenario would be finding that franchise guy, but I completely agree with your point. They were on the winning side of a bet.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think also you look at other teams that have moved on from franchise quarterbacks elsewhere in the league in recent years that have not been able to get back to that kind of level. Pittsburgh, they've gone through Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. They're on to Aaron Rodgers right now. None of those have been long-term investments. Mm-hmm. You look at the Colts post Andrew Luck, it's been like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan.
The Giants moving on from Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Did you just mention that? I was just thinking.
I don't know if Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback
yet, but I'm just saying it'd be better for them this year.
The Saints in the years following Drew Brees, it has not gone well with Jameis Winston, with Spencer Rattler right now. You had Derek Carr, who was not good for a couple of seasons. The Seahawks have maintained, and I think have also gotten above average quarterback play out of Geno Smith and Sam Darnold in the years post Russell Wilson. And the one guy that has been the common link through all these moves is John Schneider. And you look at what he has been able to do here in Seattle when he first got here. Matt Hasselbeck was still here. I think the only swing and miss that they have had at quarterback is Charlie Whitehurst, which is all the way back in 2011. They gave up, I think, they swapped picks in a second round, and I think gave up a third round for Charlie Whitehurst. He was nothing in the NFL. Maybe the Matt Flynn signing, but Also, Russell Wilson, we know his story. Saved the day. You didn't even have to worry about the
Well, and
money
you
that you're
didn't
paying
know
Matt
if you'd get
Flynn.
Russ. You didn't know what would happen. You were building up your team. You're trying to find an answer.
Exactly. But I just look at the common thread in all these moves, Stacy. It's John Schneider. And I get that Schneider has had other areas where he has been lacking, building the offensive line for sure. But what's the most important position on a football field? It's quarterback. And again, he is showing an incredible ability to spot talent at that spot and to build that up and to give them the pieces necessary to have a good season.
Let's get to some questions right now. Mike says, why do you think Darnold isn't the franchise quarterback? He checks every box. I think for me, Curtis, it's it's sometimes hard to think that with free agents, which doesn't mean they can't be. Drew Brees being maybe the most famous, or like one of, I should say, the most famous signings there, who did very obviously become a franchise player. However, I think it's just a matter of not having seen it for long enough. Like you kind of have to be convinced of something. I wouldn't even you might say of the Titans, Cam Ward, their franchise guy. It's because he's the number one pick and there's the draft capital invested. You haven't seen it though. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. It's like most of the time you only say he's the franchise guy if A, you've seen it proven, or B, they have so much draft capital invested that he must be. Yeah,
and I think another criteria for me that has to be met in order to call a guy a franchise quarterback is somebody that you can see winning a Super Bowl. And I just don't know if that's it with Sam Darnold. We've seen 4 games from him in a Seahawks uniform, and yes, he went 14-3 with the Vikings last year. But in the playoffs, his first ever taste of playoff football, it just looked like everything sped up on him. And it wasn't just the playoff game against the Rams. It was also week 18 against the Lions, too, where he looked like Sam Darnold of old. But what we have seen out of these first 4 games, Stacy, has been Minnesota Sam Darnold. Yeah. And that's another thing, too. Like, Minnesota probably is expressing some regret a little bit, I think. I mean, you've got your quarterback of the future, J.J. McCarthy, who
and you
has
didn't
been
plan
up
on
and down.
him having an injury this year,
right? And you didn't plan on him having an injury last year either. It just kind of got forced on you.
I think
to
it
put
was
Sam
more of
Darnold
like
in.
they put themselves in a position. This is where Minnesota got kind of both lucky and unlucky. They got lucky in the season they had from Sam Darnold. They got unlucky in that they almost had no choice but to move on because they drafted this guy. What was J.J. McCarthy? 7th overall?
I think he was like
I can't remember. I know top.
something.
Yeah, I can't remember if him or Bo were 12th overall then. That was obviously your franchise guy. That's who you're counting on. So when he's ready to come back, are you going to take up 2 years of his rookie deal as a quarterback, letting him sit on the bench? I know that a lot of people would say, yeah, that can actually help quarterbacks quite a bit, which I think is true. That rarely happens in the modern NFL because you kind of attach yourself to that player.
Right.
And also, you'd be paying Sam Darnold far more money than you were before. How does that work into your budget, considering you're paying Justin Jefferson a ton of money? You got to pay some other guys. So I feel like they almost had no choice but to move on because they didn't count on him succeeding in the first place.
Right. And yeah, you use a first-round pick on a quarterback. You're not just going to move on from that without seeing what you've got first. I think had they moved on from J.J. McCarthy after last year, that would have been a stunner. And we had there was people talking about that possibility. I think Colin Cowherd was the main guy. He's always been a Sam Darnold guy, and that has continued into this season, obviously. I think Cowherd recently has gone on to call Darnold like one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, which like pump the brakes a little bit, Colin. Like he's off to a great start, and I think he's Pro Football Focus's top-rated quarterback to start the season, but we're 4 games in. But I think you can, while we're pumping the brakes on that, I think you can also acknowledge, like, hey, the Seahawks may have cooked here in terms of moving on from a situation that one party, Geno Smith's party, deemed like, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. I want to get to Vegas. I want to get back to Pete. Like, I don't want to do this. And so the Seahawks backed into that corner. You're in an uncomfortable position because you don't know who your starting quarterback is going to be for the coming season. And then all of a sudden you survey the market and it's like, there's our guy. And then we'll go out and get Clint Kubiak. We'll make this thing work. And so far, you're 3-1. You're tied for the lead in your division. Things are off to a pretty good start.
Ironically, and when it applies to quarterback, it's maybe let John cook. is what we're thinking here. It's a Reaction Monday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, the Huskies fell to number one Ohio State 24-6 on Saturday, snapping their 22-game Husky Stadium win streak. What's the real headline?
Can we really call it a home game with that much red in the stands?
That was a lot.
That's a lot. Now, I know that there are certain fan bases that just roll deep, right?
Ohio State probably being the deepest.
And it's similarly like you'll see a lot of Dodgers fans at
Sox
T-Mobile
fans,
all the
Yankees
time. Like there are just some
fans,
fan bases that are like just all over. But that was still noticeable.
That was a welcome to the Big Ten moment for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a Husky alum, not a Husky supporter, but it was just kind of like, whoa. Okay, this is the kind of passion you're dealing with opposing fans.
Oh, these are people that post on forums.
Yeah, these are people that know where the address of their players is.
They're scouting 12-year-olds right now.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing over in the Midwest, but I thought UW's defense played a lot better than what I was expecting. That
Agreed.
had been sort of the biggest issue with them in their first 3 games. It was 3 blowouts, but the defense hadn't really looked dominant in those 3. I thought they did a good job of keeping Ohio State in check for most of the game. But that offense against the Ohio State defense, Stacy.
Which still hasn't given up a red zone touchdown to any team this year.
That Husky,
to their credit.
Yeah, that Buckeye defense is a cheat code.
I think that's why also, this isn't coming up in 4-down territory. I'm going to talk about 2 things kind of sticking with me. But because I'm not going to mention it then, I want to mention it now. This is why the fake field goal kind of drove me crazy. It's like, hey, you're not going to get a ton of opportunities to really try to score on this defense. Again, they are the best defense in the red zone in college football. Why get cute? Especially why get cute when people aren't on the same page? That was a horrible.
Yeah, I think only the kicker and holder knew that it was.
No one knew what was
fake.
happening there, except for Ohio State's defense. I didn't like the decision by Jed, and again, it's not an overall indictment on play calling. It was just kind of a be who you are, lean into your strengths, don't try to get cute. Yeah. I know maybe it's trying to outsmart, trying to outwit, but it's I didn't like it.
How did the Husky and you feel too about Oregon beating Penn State on the road and Kalen DeBoer beating Georgia on the road?
I don't feel anything about Kalen DeBoer.
Not a great day for the purple and gold.
Yeah, I don't feel anything about Kalen DeBoer. With Oregon, I've just kind of accepted like they're in a just monumentally different place as a program. Their NIL money, I think, is either first or second around Ohio State. Like they're playing in a different playground, playing in a different sandbox right now. And that's okay. I was, through the first half, pleasantly surprised by this team and thinking, wow, this is going better than I thought it would. They were just It's just a battle in the trenches. You can't win against this team.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, the Mariners will face the winner of the Guardians and Tigers wild card series, but Major League Baseball has a scheduling nightmare on their hands for Sunday's Game 2 in Seattle. What's the real headline?
Reach for comment. The NFL said, we got to be honest, we never thought this would happen.
It's going to be Carmageddon in Soto on Sunday.
They said, so we're checking you said October?
October 5th?
You said October 5th.
For the Sunday.
The Mariners.
The Mariners are going to be playing?
You got that right? Are you maybe looking at a September?
First round bye? No.
Are you positive?
Adam Schefter was the first to report this on, I think, was it Saturday? Just kind of the logistical nightmare that's on hand. So the Seahawks are scheduled to host the Buccaneers 1:05 local time. It does not sound like that is going to be, I think it
shouldn't happen, I don't think. But here's the other thing that was driving me crazy about it is just the number of people not from Seattle, not from the state, who fundamentally did not understand why this was an issue.
Right.
Fenway and Gillette are like,
they're nowhere near each other.
No, they're like 40 minutes, 50 minutes away from each other. Same for MetLife and Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Like, it's fundamentally different in certain cities that have maybe at the same time had games. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you have to have the timing of this work out. For instance, like maybe this is something Detroit would have been looking at. The Lions have their 2 stadiums are right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's Same as Seattle. They're actually like a tiny bit closer, but it just didn't work out that way. Obviously,
Right.
Tigers coming into this as a 6 seed.
So Schefter points out if the Mariners are scheduled to play at the same time as the Seahawks, so like a 1:10 first pitch, the Seahawks could then push back their kickoff anywhere from 90 minutes to 150 minutes. So that would push a 1:05 kickoff for the Seahawks back to maybe 2:30 p.m. or potentially 3:30 p.m. local time.
3:30 would be way better. You can.
Oh,
fit in
yeah.
most
You
of
could
the
have.
game. You could be done with
the
the game, but
Mariners
have
game
people
could be
safely.
mostly over by then.
I mean, I think it'll be over, but it'll be.
Maybe
that's
at least
a
like
lot.
the seventh, eighth inning.
Not only is it a lot of people to move, Seattle is not a giant city. It's about the population of Boston.
They say it's one of the most walkable cities.
Well, let me tell you what, it's a 5-minute walk between these two stadiums. That's just a lot. That's like where I start getting safety concerns. I start getting claustrophobic kind of anxiety of like, that's a lot of bodies to move. If both stadiums were sellouts at the same time, that's 100,000 people. Now, they won't be. There are going to be people that are going to be going to both of these games, but I also I want this playoff game for the Mariners to be completely sold out.
Oh, yeah, it will
It will be.
I think both games will have full attendance. Like, if you don't have a ticket to get to the Seahawks game, then you just focus on the Mariners game. I bet there were people that were hoping to go to both.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's unfortunate.
In theory, it's very,
happen.
very cool, but I do think there's a crowd control, making sure people are able to get to their seats in time measure that is a little tricky with this.
Another thing, people are like, well, why not move the Mariner game to the night slot on Fox? I think
Because you're not the Yankees.
Right, because it's going to be either the Yankees or Red Sox against the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
that's
the answer.
That's going to get the most viewers on that
It's
Sunday night.
unfortunately going to happen.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, NFL Network is reporting teams are monitoring the availability of Riq Woolen ahead of the November 4th trade deadline. What's the real headline?
I think we all know how this ends.
Yeah, these kinds of rumors usually don't come out of thin air.
What was your reaction when you saw this? I know we're going to get to it at 10:45 and talk a bit more about it, but were you surprised?
No, I was not. And you hear it in the tone that Mike McDonald uses when talking about Josh Jobe compared to Riq Woolen. Josh Jobe is his second son. Whereas Riq Woolen, it just kind of feels like McDonald has given him a lot of opportunities, and Woolen has not been able to use that runway to take off. And for whatever reason, I think Mike McDonald's just kind of like, all right, you can probably fetch us quite a bit in return, or at least a mid-round pick if that happens. I saw a lot of people putting together a trade proposal, and I was intrigued by this. Tell me what you think of it, Stacy. If it's the Raiders again, Pete and John doing business
why
together.
not? Familiar friend.
Riq Woolen for Jackson Powers Johnson, the offensive lineman.
Yeah. And
I would take
I mean,
him.
no disrespect to Riq Woolen. I just mean that, like, your offense, I will always take help for this offensive line, especially the interior. All right, the latest from Jerry Dipoto coming up next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Mariners looking to wrap it up. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. The Seattle Mariners are champions in the American League West.
The champagne is flowing now.
We're not done yet, but tonight we celebrate. Let's go!
Your home for baseball's postseason and your American League West champion Mariners.
Keep competing, and we'll keep going!
Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
The journey just continues.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Say goodbye to clutter with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal service. Tune in to Cairo Radio 97.3 FM or KTTH AM 770 for Home Matters featuring Happy Hauler this Saturday at 2 p.m. Go to happyhauler.com. Hauling with a heart.
Imagine homes so well designed and so luxurious, they'll be setting the standard for decades. You're imagining a Mainview home. Now imagine a Mainview home on sale, saving $50,000 to $120,000.
Isn't that what Brett and Amy bought?
Yeah, it's a Mainview, and they saved a bundle.
What are you doing?
Looking at the Mainview website. It's now or never.
What's better than a Mainview home? A Mainview home on sale. Mainview communities across the Puget Sound.
Open enrollment for Medicare is coming up. Are you ready? Herb Weisbaum, the consumer man here. Get organized early with a Medicare Jumpstart Toolkit from the Insurance Commissioner's Sheba program. Order your free copy today at insurance.wa.gov.
Hey, it's John Curley with some great news. If your home's heating or cooling is uneven, noisy, or expensive, listen up. The Quilt Ductless Heat Pump System from Home Comfort Alliance is changing the game. It gives you room-by-room control and next-gen efficiency, so you're only heating where you need it. That means real comfort and real savings, and every quilt system qualifies for max tax credits. Trusted for 50 years. Call the comfort people today at homecomfortalliance.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Construction. It was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, PCFgroup.com.
Want more Seahawks content? Join me, G. Scott, on The Reset. New episodes of the podcast every Monday and Thursday on YouTube or on the Seattle Sports app.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us.
We get notifications every time we get a review. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? Sometimes I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback.
Big part of sales is the relationship aspect. People want to do business with someone they can trust, who's a real person. They don't feel like you're just going after their money. And when you take the time to get to know them, get to know their needs, not be a car salesman, but be a consultant, then they feel more comfortable with you, and just the experience is better on both sides.
It's not about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, helping people make the right choice. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. we can help.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Is Riq Woolen available via trade? We're going to get back to that story coming up at 10:45. Before we do, Jerry Dipoto spoke at the end of the regular season. We're going to tell you everything he had to say, and you're going to be able to listen. Let's start with this one.
162 games, there's always pain. There's always a little bit of a dip and a roller coaster ride, but I thought, by and large, we were fortunate enough to stay mostly healthy, and our pitching at the end started to come together in a way that we're used to it coming together. And, by the end, we were clicking on all cylinders, which is, not super common when you're hitting in every facet of the game. But we did it, and I'm so proud of the guys for what they accomplished.
I think Jerry, unsurprisingly, he clearly knows this team and constructed it, pointed out the two most important and under-the-radar things for the Mariners, which has been health and the starting staff kind of coming into form, particularly in September. I know that Cal and then Julio and just the hitters they have on this team, a lot of big bats, have been the story through so much of the season, especially with at some point you had either Logan or Kirby or Bryce or a number of starters gone, and then the pitching just wasn't as good. But the two things that not only matter moving forward but have mattered a lot in September, the health of your team and your pitching working.
Yeah, in a lot of good teams, a common thread with them is just kind of luck and timing, and the Mariners got lucky this year. I know the injuries that they had were pretty debilitating, but like the fact that Robles, Kirby, Miller, and Gilbert all were hurt at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Where you knew at some point all of those guys were going to return. The only one you really didn't know that was going to return was Robles, and then he surprises you and returns about a month earlier than normal.
I wondered if Logan would end up needing Tommy John
potentially.
surgery.
Yeah,
I thought, are we going to find out?
That was I think that was the scariest of all the injuries, because it's like
the season's done.
He was your ace last year. Like he means so much to this pitching staff. Like who knows what's going to happen, but luckily he's able to bounce back.
I also worried with Wu, for that matter, who was your only most recent injury. Like I thought, oh no.
Yeah.
And then that ended up being not serious injury, but one that it hasn't ended his season. They're hoping he can make it back.
And the beauty is that with this week off, it's just another week of rest, another week to get him ready. You're not having to worry about not having him available yet in a playoff series. We don't know what the rotation is going to look like. We're probably not going to know what the rotation will look like until the conclusion of the Tigers-Guardians series. That way you can mix and match who you're going to have each day. But, yeah, I think just the luck of having those injuries early in the season, the Mariners have greatly benefited from.
All right, so those are two things standing out to Jerry from this season. He also, of course, had stuff to say about Cal in the offense. First, here's Cal.
He turned himself into a superstar, and the world got to see it. And, he is now maybe one of the faces of Major League Baseball, and that's a remarkable thing to have happened. It wasn't just its impact on the Mariners. I think it was globally on the sport, and, his popularity worldwide. When we get off the bus, anywhere we go, it's a frenzy of fans yelling for Cal, and it's fascinating that prior to this he was kind of an under the radar platinum glove winning 35 homer hitting catcher that resided in the Pacific Northwest. Now he's an international star.
One of my favorite things about looking back at some of the Mariners' early hype videos for the season is how little it featured Cal. And that wasn't because they didn't appreciate and love and respect Cal. They gave him an extension before the season started. Like, they clearly value him. But it was that they and us and all of baseball were thinking the pitching and Julio has to be the story of this season. You will get to a World Series if those things are great. And then Cal came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you got to have guys exceeding expectations in order to reach a World Series. And I don't think any of us looked at Cal because we all kind of thought this is who he is. He's a 30 home run.
I expected exactly who he was last year. 230,
240 230, 240 hitter. He'll drive in 85 to 90 runs.
Some clutch moments.
Yeah, and that is the most you could ever ask of a catcher, right?
Yeah.
That is as great of an offensive season from a catcher as you're going to get.
He was the most underrated catcher in baseball.
Exactly. And then 60 home runs and potentially an AL MVP. It makes me think back
and now he's the most famous catcher in
exactly.
baseball.
It makes me think back to another recent example of this would be with the 2016 Cubs. Jake Arrieta was, Jake Arrieta he had a couple of good seasons, but before that, he had been kind of viewed as like a prospect bust. Like he was one of the top prospects in the Orioles system. They let him go. The Cubs kind of make him a reclamation project. He turns himself into a decent starting pitcher for a couple of seasons, and then all of a sudden, is the greatest pitcher on earth, wins 20 games, throws a couple of no-hitters, wins the Cy Young, has an ERA under 2, and then they ride that to a World Series title. You got to have guys that are not just exceeding expectations, but just like becoming something else that they've never been before.
Frankly, and you hear people close to Cal talking about it, because another thing is he was never a top prospect, not even a top 100 prospect. This is someone who was a third-round pick and someone that they were very serious about. Like they wanted to make sure they got that done. We've heard stories about he started out as just being like proposed as, oh, what about this guy Cal? We think he's a good leader. And then pretty soon they look at him and they're like, this is the best catcher in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But this was not someone that came in the way that Harry Ford has gone through this system. This is someone who was seen as, oh, he's good enough because the expectation is that a catcher just be good defensively, and that's got to be fine. So it's just fascinating to, and he's not going to hit 60 again. I think he can absolutely. I think he's changed his swing enough where it's like, I think 40 is totally.
I think so too.
You know what I mean?
And it's going to be weird next year when he is going to regress. Like you can't really exceed what you've done this season because no one has ever reached these numbers that he's gotten to. But are we going to look at next season if he finishes with like 38 home runs as like, pfft, dude, you had that by the All-Star break last year. Like,
well, from
what do you
now
mean
on,
38?
whenever Aaron Judge doesn't hit 62, I say the same thing.
Yeah, what a bum.
Yeah.
Oh, your fourth
54.
straight 50 home run
Okay.
season? Okay,
Wow.
do something original.
Yeah. OPS, more like, OPS. Oops. You didn't hit 62 this year, Aaron. No, it's been a really fun season. And Jerry also talked a lot about just outside of Cal, including Cal, but also outside of him, what this lineup has that 2022's didn't.
Now we have power up and down the lineup. We have speed up and down the lineup. We have on-base presence up and down the lineup. And we didn't have that then. This is a much deeper lineup. I think one of the more, complete lineups, and certainly in the American League. We don't get to see the National League quite as much, but I'm biased. I think it's as deep as anybody's lineup in baseball. And the fact that we can beat you with power, we can beat you with speed, and we can still do the little things. There are a lot of guys in our lineup that are proficient in getting the guy over, figuring out how to get him in. And while this hadn't been a great year for us with hitting with runners in scoring position, I think we hopped over that hump in the last 3 weeks or so and just kind of broke out of it. But we can beat you in a lot of ways. And I think the way you win in the postseason is you pitch, you finish games, and hit the ball out of the ballpark. And we can do those things.
Speaking of adding that power, from Saris, over the last 4 years, teams that out-homered opponents are 95-20 in the postseason.
Mariners have hit a lot of home runs this season.
I mean, so have the Yankees, but you don't have to face them until a possible ALCS.
Exactly.
If you're
They have to go through 2 rounds of the playoffs before potentially meeting the Mariners. So, yeah, I think the way this Mariners team is built, the way this roster is built, is much more conducive to postseason success than it was in 2022. Especially guys, obviously Cal, but Julio can go yard at any time. Randy can go yard at any time. Gino, obviously. Naylor has power. Heck, even guys like Luke Raley, who probably won't start. Dom Canzone can go yard. Like, you have the power bats to make it work in the playoffs. And I mean, heck, you look at what the Dodgers did last year. Their biggest moments were all home runs. Yes, this Mariners team is built for success in October, more so than any potential playoff team that they've had over this 24 years, where, without a division title. And obviously 22 was the team to get over that first hump, but I just think that this 25 team can accomplish so much more than what 22 did.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. A big trade rumor for the Seahawks next on your home for the Mariners playoff run. Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
Sometimes even heroes need rescuing.
I'm a retired firefighter, 27 years.
Kurt had severe pain in his knees and his shoulder, which was keeping him from enjoying his well-deserved retirement.
Loved to ski, loved to fish, and couldn't even walk 18 holes.
That's why Kurt decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
He was just awesome. He goes, yeah, give me a shot. And he took care of me. He stemmed my knee and my shoulder.
And how are you feeling now?
I was pain-free in 12 weeks. I play golf now pain-free, and it's awesome.
So you'd recommend this treatment to others in your situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, Dr. Wagner's, he's had a couple people call me, and I recommended that they do it.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed, or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-466-3300. That's 206-466-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
It's about grit.
Leonard Williams drags him down.
Running through whatever gets in your way.
The handoff to Charbonnet. Stiff arms a man, turns, first down. Oh my goodness, what a blast!
Fighting for every yard.
The handoff to Walker. He breaks a tackle, comes back to the near side, stumbles across the 10, breaks the tackle. Touchdown, Seahawks!
And a drive that never ends. Celebrating 50 seasons of Seahawks football. Visit Seahawks.com/tickets today.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to the Seahawks game Sunday, October 5th. Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom right corner, and enter to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter through the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds. Do it every day, September 23rd through September 29th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win. From the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
The home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Touchdown, Seahawks! Ken Walker III.
Get everything Seahawks at seattlesports.com.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7. 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
Hear that? Sounds like simple. Valvoline Instant Oil Change simple. No appointments. About 15 minutes to change your oil. Then out the door and back to life.
Yeah, honey, on my way.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change. expert service doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Seahawks are back home this weekend with their 50th season celebration game. Today's the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch them take the field on October 5th. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, you should. Just text the word app to 866-979-3776 or download it wherever you get your apps. But if you text us, we'll send you a link to download. Make it easy.
You're going to get price gouged that Sunday anyway. Save $1 or $2. Get some free tickets. That's how you do it.
I'm dreading parking.
Oh, it's going to be... We've all kind of dreamed up in our heads this nightmare scenario of like what a potential Seahawks Mariners like crossover event would look like. And I think it's going to even exceed all of that.
Well,
it's going to be chaos. Pure chaos.
All of us are going to be working from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah, like it's going to be all day for everybody.
I mean, it'll be really, really fun because you're working.
Yeah, I mean, this is
in a really cool setting, and we're watching
acting
amazing
as though this
games.
is like the toughest endeavor we've
Heck
all had to
no.
do. But like, people would dream.
I'm so excited.
People would dream to have the kind of Sunday that we're all going to have, and we hope that we can, give it the proper due all over, because it's not just any old Seahawks game either. It's the 50th anniversary celebration
look,
too.
To bring it shamelessly but importantly back to the app, you can listen.
You can listen to both. You're probably going to need that app in one way or another.
I'm telling you right now, hopefully you need the app for a long time, and the Mariners keep advancing, and you can keep swapping between both broadcasts. All right. Speaking of the Seahawks, have they reached a breaking point with Riq Woolen? From Ian Rappaport over the weekend, teams are reportedly interested in a possible trade for Riq Woolen, and just with the way that the NFL rumor mill works, my assumption when these things get out is that, I'm not saying the Seahawks are doing this, but most of the time a team maybe drops some information to an insider.
Yeah.
Hey, this person's available. And then the rumors start, and then teams know to call. Because otherwise teams don't always know to call. Everyone's always picking up the phone to ask about certain guys, but those rumors come out for a reason.
Right. And it makes sense. Like, you see what Woolen is at his very best. He's a game-changing cornerback. Like, he's a guy that generates a lot of turnovers. He has the measurables that everybody is looking for when it comes to just your peak corner. Like, this is a guy that is one of those first off the bus guys where it's like, oh, he's your cornerback? I beg pardon?
Yeah.
Like, that's how ridiculous his measurables are. The issue, though, is just, for whatever reason, time and time again, he has been kind of caught with his hands down or just, lacking in certain aspects. And I think for Mike Macdonald, he's kind of like, well, I just can't have that risk every time I put you out there. Like, does the risk of Riq Woolen being in my lineup outweigh the benefits? And to start this season, it doesn't appear as though that is the case. It doesn't appear as though Mike Macdonald specifically has been liking what he's seeing from Riq Woolen.
Well, and consider that Woolen was benched last year. Obviously didn't stay out of the game. Again, he's so exceptionally talented physically, but had been benched before, had a tough game against the Niners. Take a listen 2 weeks ago to Fox's Adam Amin.
I think the desire and even ability to be able to send a message goes a long way. We had, I want to say it was the Minnesota game late in the year, and Riq Woolen was off the field for the first series of what ended up being and what was a crucial game for both teams in the middle of a playoff chase. And he came into the game later, but I think Mike is or at least is trying to become very established in his attitude. in how he wants his program to be run, how he wants guys to kind of fit into it.
Again, to your point, a lot of it isn't just about skill. We know Riq Woolen is talented, and we don't know for sure that the Seahawks are going to move him or that the Seahawks are the ones that, release this rumor. But I think everyone can assume from the outside looking in that this isn't based on physical traits.
Right. It's not.
It's not because Riq Woolen isn't fast enough. It's not because he doesn't have length. It's not because you look at Riq Woolen and you see a physically talented person.
Exactly. And it kind of makes you scratch your head. And in hindsight, is like, why did a guy with all these measurables slip to the 5th round? Like this, he played for a small school. Texas San Antonio's not
One was a new corner.
Right. He had only been playing the position for 2 years?
I think that was a massive part of it too. It's
yeah,
so fear that he wasn't technically sound.
Sure. So there were those risks too in taking Riq Woolen, but obviously he outperformed his draft position. I mean, even now he has outperformed his draft position. Like I would still consider that a successful draft pick because the fact that you got a starting quarterback, at least, when everything is up to snuff, you've got a starting cornerback and Riq Woolen out of a 5th round pick. Like that's a tremendous job of drafting. You're at this point where it's a contract year and you're looking at, do we want to pay this guy long term? And what he has shown you to start this season, I think the opinion shared by most people in the Seahawks organization is no, we don't feel comfortable giving him a long-term deal. There are other teams out there, though, that are more than willing to simply because of their lack of talent at the cornerback position. And, obviously what he has shown is that he can be really good when everything is together, when everything is firing on all cylinders. Is that going to happen here in Seattle? Just kind of based off of that report yesterday that came out. And maybe it was another team that was like, hey, we're waiting to see what the Seahawks are going to do on Riq Woolen. But when Ian Rappaport is tweeting about the Seahawks, he's pretty good when it comes to getting the Seahawks stuff right.
A follow-up question for you before we get to Brady Henderson, who's coming up next. What's the risk in trading Woolen? Because I just want to highlight that inherent to these decisions is risk. It's what makes it so tough. This isn't a little league team where it's, if I don't like your attitude, I'm kicking you to the curb. There's risk inherent to this move. What is it?
I think the risk internally is that you're losing depth at the cornerback spot. The risk externally, if he goes and moves on and then becomes one of the game's very best cornerbacks, becomes a future All-Pro, puts it together, and he doesn't have the worries that the Seahawks currently have about him. That's the risk, I think, in moving on. And then also, like, if he does become that, you don't want to be only getting, like, a 5th-round pick in return. Like, you hope that you can get something back in return that's going to make your team better. So if you do move on from Riq Woolen, yeah, there's a risk. But also, like, he's in such an ideal situation for his skill set. He's with a defensive head coach. He is with a secondary that has playmakers around him, and Witherspoon and Love and Kobe Bryant and Nick Eamon-Worry is out there. Like, you couldn't ask for a better spot to have success in as a cornerback in the NFL. And just one thing after another with the Seahawks, and I think they're just kind of like throw their hands up. Like, dude, what else do we have to do with you?
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. We have a lot of questions about the Seahawks, and why don't we just start with these Riq Woolen rumors with ESPN's Brady Henderson. He joins us next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
It's been 24 years since
the 2001 Western Division champions.
Mariners Nation, you've earned this banner.
There's no better feeling than this. We work so hard each day.
With a first-round bye in the bag, what's ahead for the AL West champion Mariners in the postseason?
It's a lot of great things ahead. I can feel it.
SeattleSports.com has the latest on the scenarios.
We're not done yet. We got a World Series to go get.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Hey man, gaining weight, dragging throughout the day, losing your drive? It could be your testosterone. The team at Revive Men's Health Washington gets men back on track with the energy and drive they've been missing. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations and witness to hundreds of success stories.
I've seen guys come in worn out, discouraged, and just not themselves. A few months into treatment, they're standing taller, speaking with more confidence. It's like watching someone come back to life, like a light switch gets turned back on. When a spouse says, "Thank you, I really have my partner back, better than before." That's the moment it all clicks for me, and that's why I do what I do.
Since 2011, Revive Men's Health has helped more than 120,000 men regain their energy and drive. Start your story today with an in-clinic visit or a secure video appointment. Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111 or schedule anytime at revivemenshealth.com.
When the heat's in 11,
cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net. Get end-of-season savings of 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump while supplies last at Day and Night.
Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Save 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump, plus no payments or interest for a year OAC. Call for details.
dayandnight.net.
With football season comes colder weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here with Keith Dashafi from locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. So Keith, what's your next big play?
Well, Steve, right now get 40% off qualifying installs or no payments and no interest for 12 months on approved credit.
Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
At 65 years old, Brian has a rather demanding hobby.
My biggest passion is snow skiing, and I ski between 70 and 80 days per year. And I ski instruct at a private resort in Montana.
Needless to say, that can be a bit tough on the joints.
When this knee started to bother me, I thought I'm doomed.
That's when Brian decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
If I did yard work or skied a few days in a row, I was fighting swelling and pain and no sleep and all sorts of problems, and that has absolutely gone away.
So are you back on the slopes?
I mean, I had a 14-day stretch with clients where I skied every day and I had no problem. It was fine. It was just like, I felt like new.
So I'm guessing you would recommend this to others.
Oh, I already have. I've told everyone that'll listen.
Whether it's a shoulder, hip, or knee, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's really, truly a miracle.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your...
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
New York Giants receiver Malik Neighbors is out for the rest of the season. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, tests this morning confirmed the team's fear yesterday that Neighbors tore his ACL leaping for a catch in the Giants' win over the Chargers. Meanwhile, more injury concerns for San Francisco. ESPN's Nick Wagner reporting Kyle Shanahan says Brock Purdy's dealing with soreness in his toe. The 49ers quarterback already missed a few weeks with turf toe, and the Niners have a short week. They're taking on the Rams Thursday.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Talking Seahawks with ESPN's Brady Henderson joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Brady, how's it going?
Going well. How are you guys doing?
Good. We have a lot to talk about with this team, but we're going to start with actually the most recent news before we dig into some numbers from the first month, and that being the Riq Woolen rumor about him being potentially available via trade. A bit of a two-parter here, and for that I apologize. A, are you surprised to hear this rumor? And B, what's going on with Riq Woolen's time with Seattle? He's maybe struggled at times with some benching both under Carroll and Mike McDonald.
Well, Stacy, I feel like we could do an entire segment on this topic. So, where do I begin? Let's see.
You got time.
In terms of his tenure here, I mean, certainly you can say that he has not lived up to, or he has not followed up on that great rookie season that he had. And I got some numbers from our stats people at ESPN, and he's been targeted 15 times. He's allowing 8.3 yards per target, which is tied for 61st. He's got allowing a passer rating of almost 98 as the nearest defender in coverage. And so he had the penalties in that game. And you heard from Mike McDonald afterwards saying that he feels like Riq might be pressing. He says he's playing hard, which is obviously, a good thing, but he says he might be pressing given his situation. And look, in terms of the big picture with Woolen, I think it's clear by this point that the Seahawks have a pretty big reservation about paying him, because if they felt like he was a guy that they really felt comfortable about long-term, they would have taken care of that this offseason. And so the fact that they didn't do that, and I think it's really clear that they have some questions about him and about, how much they would trust him with a big new contract. And so, I think that part of the issue is, we've heard Mike McDonald say this, that it's a matter of Riq kind of locking in on every play. And obviously he's a very talented guy. He can make any play he wants. And I think this is the challenge that really good, talented quarterbacks face, is sometimes you go a long time without getting targeted, and then, it's easy to just kind of lose focus and get lulled to sleep. And that may have happened in that first game, when he allowed those two big plays on the 49ers game-winning drive. But that is kind of the challenge of being a cornerback in the NFL, is you got to lock in. And he hasn't really done that consistently. And so, look, if you go back to his rookie season, it wasn't like he was never getting beat. The difference is he was making big plays to offset some of those mistakes. I mean, he had 6 interceptions to tie for the league lead as a rookie. I think he had 1 or 2 pick sixes that year. But he still got beat on occasion. And you're obviously seeing those mistakes now. You're just not seeing the big plays that offset them. And so, in terms of the Ian Rappaport report, I would pump the brakes on. I've seen a lot of people kind of jump to conclusions about the origin of that report. And I'm not one who typically likes to, speculate on the sources that my fellow reporters have. But I would not assume that, because and I have not talked to the Seahawks, anybody with the Seahawks, since this report came out. But if you look at the wording of the tweet, it was that other teams are monitoring this, not necessarily that the Seahawks are making him available in a trade. So the wording would seem to imply that it's actually coming from other teams. Now, look, I don't doubt that the Seahawks might be open to trading him if they're not comfortable paying him, and if you feel like you're only going to have him for another, whatever it is, 13 games, And if you feel like you've got a lot of depth in the secondary that you can, that you could just turn to, and maybe if you could get a player in return who can help you at another spot, like a guard or maybe an edge guy, something like that, then yeah, I could totally see that making sense. I just would not assume that this is the Seahawks putting this message out there. An assumption that a lot of people make is that every scoop a reporter gets just falls right into your lap. And I can tell you that that's not the case. I mean, in 8 years at ESPN, that's probably happened to me. I can count on two hands the number of times that's happened to me. Like, reporters get information a lot of times because they track it down and because they're having conversations. So I would not be surprised if this was, Ian Rappaport actually asking around and having other teams ask him about Woolen and try to gauge the availability. So I think that's probably important just to keep in mind that this may not be the Seahawks putting this out there.
Well, glad you clarified, because hand up, we were wondering if, is this coming from Seattle?
Coming from within the building or not?
Is the call coming from inside the house?
My guess is actually no. But I also don't doubt that they might be open to trading him. But
well, Brady, if let's say Woolen is available in trade talks over the next month, what's the risk the Seahawks take on if they do decide to move on from Riq Woolen?
Well, I guess the risk would be that you're moving on from a supremely talented player who, still has not, who still might have time to figure it all out. And you see guys get traded and then flourish elsewhere with the change of scenery and maybe new voices that kind of reach them in ways that, others couldn't. So, I suppose that's the risk. I just go back to last season when, there was a number of critical mistakes late in games. The Rams game, he has a chance to maybe, put them in position to win and he doesn't attack a ball that he could have intercepted, and then he gives up the touchdown on the final drive in overtime. The Vikings game, obviously he isn't on the same page with the rest of the defense, and Justin Jefferson beats him for the game-winning touchdown. He had a tough week against Green Bay the week before, and also that Vikings game, remember, they sat him for the opening drive of that game for some undisclosed violation of team rules. And I continue to go back to the significance of that, of the Seahawks decision to discipline him in that way, because when you're a team, there's a lot of different ways you can handle that, and you can do it in ways that don't come out. You can keep that entirely behind the scenes. So I don't know exactly what he did, and I don't know exactly what led to that, but my suspicion has always been that things had gotten to a point there where they felt the need to do that in a way that they knew would get out in public. Because, look, that if Riq Woolen doesn't play on that opening series, everyone's going to ask about it. And you're going to be in position to have to say, yeah, that was a disciplinary matter, when you could have just handled it behind closed doors and maybe fined him or done something else that didn't come out like that. And so to me, that always struck me as something that it wasn't just a one-off incident. It was something that built to that. And so, when you've got maybe a player who I suspect that they don't feel has totally applied himself the way that they want to off the field, and then you've got the mistakes on the field, and you don't have the big plays, again, to offset some of those mistakes off the field, then I think that's where they're at right now.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on this story. Again, the rumor just breaking over the weekend, and we'll certainly reach out for updates as they come. In fact, Brady, you're so well sourced, you might even end up breaking some updates here on this one. So let's switch gears here and look at some other.
They're not going to fall into my lap if they do. I'll tell you that much.
Let's look at some other facets of this team right now. I've been pretty happy with what we've seen from the offense, though it's still an incomplete picture, and the missing part is the one that surprises me most. We just haven't seen maybe some explosiveness in the run. They're certainly trying. It's not for a lack of attempts, Brady, there. But what are you seeing from the run game?
Yeah, I would. I know Bump is not here. The golfer of the show is not here, but I will make a golf analogy anyway, Stacy. In that I think the Seahawks run game is kind of the equivalent of like maybe a 15 to 20 handicap golfer, where you're competent, you can have some nice holes, you can get par a few times around, and you're going to be competent in the run game. But you're also going to have a lot of double and triple bogeys, and you're going to have blow-ups, and that's kind of what their run game is right now. I mean, they've shown the ability, as you said, to be explosive. I think they have 7 plays that have gained over 15 yards in the run game. Obviously, one was the big Sam Darnold scramble the other night, but they've shown that they can pick up some nice yardage. They also have 33 rushing plays, a league-high 33 rushing plays that have either gained no yards or lost yardage. And so you just have a lot of plays that never get off the ground. And it's kind of hard to fathom how both of those things can be true, but I think it's just a matter of they're not really consistently doing it. And Mike McDonald, I think somebody asked about this on Friday, and he said it's a little bit of everything. It's the running, it's the blocking, it's the play calling, and by that maybe he meant Sam Darnold getting them in the right play at the line of scrimmage. And so, I know there's a clip floating out around there about Anthony Bradford and some of the struggles that he had. I still need to watch the whole game with the focus on him, because I think that if you clip any offensive lineman's 5-6 worst plays of a game, you can make a guy look terrible. So I need to watch his full game to really see if that represents how he played. But the fact of the matter is, this was a guy that they didn't really commit to fully. They made him compete for the job. And last year he sort of had to do the same thing with Christian Haynes before he got hurt. So it would not surprise me if just Anthony Bradford is part of that equation, along with some other guys on that offensive line. But I think it is kind of a mixture of things that have really caused a lot of run plays to just really be dead upon arrival.
Brady, Geno Smith had another rough game yesterday for the Raiders. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold is a Pro Football Focus darling. I believe he's the highest-rated quarterback, according to that service. If not, he's up near the top of that list. So whose start to the season has been maybe more surprising to you, Darnold here in Seattle or Geno and his rough go of it in Vegas?
Boy, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, and you don't need PFF to know that Sam Darnold is playing pretty well, even though he's not exactly lighting up the stat sheet. But I think he is operating that offense exactly how they want him to be. And I think quarterbacks in this kind of offense, if you look at Brock Purdy, the 49ers don't ask Brock Purdy to throw 3 touchdowns and 300 yards every week. You want to sort of be the point guard, and I think Darnold is doing that. He's a guy who's distributing, spreading the ball around, getting them in the right play for the most part, and making plays when he has to. I think that the thing that has surprised me with Sam Darnold is I didn't know from before this season, the limited times I'd watched him, I didn't know that he had this amount of playmaking in him, meaning like the ability to escape pressure and not just avoid sacks, but create big plays after doing that. And you've seen a number of those, from the spin out he had against Pittsburgh to on that 3rd and 9 play where he hits AJ Barner. There was a couple last week, the one against Arizona when he again escapes to his left and hits JSN deep down the field. The 24-yard scramble in this past game, the scramble where he hits, he rolls out to his right and he hits Arroyo. There's just I didn't realize he was that kind of a playmaker, and so he's Sam Darnold's playing some really good football, and Geno's having some tough interceptions in Vegas. I think their offensive line is a big question mark. He seems to have a decent amount of weapons, at least with the running back and the tight end, maybe the receiver core not so much. But look, I just think if you judge this quarterback swap that the Seahawks made in trading Geno Smith and signing Sam Darnold to replace him, Darnold does not have to be better than Geno Smith for that swap to be a win for the Seahawks. When you consider that they got 7 years younger, they got $4 million per year cheaper when you compare the 2 contracts that those guys got, and they picked up a 3rd-round pick in the process. So if Sam Darnold is merely as good as Geno Smith is or would, it's kind of hard to project how Geno would be in this offense, but if he gives you just the same level of play, that's a win because you picked up those other things. And so the fact that he is outplaying Geno Smith, again, it's hard to know how Geno would be playing in this system, but the fact of the matter is Darnold's playing really well. So that trade looks like an unequivocal, or that swap, I should say, looks like an unequivocal win so far.
All right, last one here, Brady, and a fairly quick one before we let you go. Are there any injuries that we should have an eye on heading into? Thankfully, they have 10 days off, but heading into Sunday's game against the Bucs?
Yeah, well, it seems like there's been injuries that pop up that you don't necessarily see in game. So we'll see. We won't know about those probably until Wednesday because I don't think Mike McDonald's going to say anything. But DeMarcus Lawrence, that is one to keep an eye on. I know on the broadcast they may have made it sound like it wasn't like a serious thing. I'm not throwing shade on the reporting there, but I just, I'm not totally convinced that he's going to be totally fine from that. So we'll see what DeMarcus Lawrence looks like. It was serious enough to have him ruled out for the rest of the game. So I'm not necessarily assuming that he's going to be back this week. I think we got to wait and see on that one.
All right, follow him for the latest at Brady Henderson and read his work at ESPN.com. He's ESPN's Brady Henderson. Thanks, Brady.
Thanks, Brady.
All right, thanks, guys. See you.
It's a Reaction Monday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
Stacy, first down to you.
Okay.
2 numbers stand out to you when it comes to the Seahawks run and pass game. Tell us what we should know.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the run, and it's 3.6 yards per carry. That is where they rank in the NFL. It's 28th right now. And I think it's also important to note that is being top 4 in attempts. So
They're
it's
giving
not
it the old college try.
That's what it's not that they aren't trying, and you can look at that as a good or bad thing. You can say they're not getting a lot of yards despite running a ton. It's not like their pass game is completely taking off and they run it, 10 times, if that, and they just aren't good at it. No, it's that they're really, really trying to put their money where their mouth is and making this part of their identity. I mean, but you heard what Brady said. I thought that was a fascinating stat from Brady. A league-high 33 run plays that have gained nothing or lost yardage. And then meanwhile, you have some of these home runs that end up taking off. Now, I think there's an overall just certainly a lack of consistency. I still don't feel like it's a very explosive run game. So even though they have some of those explosive plays, it doesn't feel explosive and efficient to me. And it's been very interesting considering that's kind of the core of who they want to be and the identity they're pursuing. Curious to see if that ends up taking off with the pass game. There has been a lot of explosiveness, and that's where I kind of want to tip the cap and give them a lot of credit for that. 12.3 is the yards per completion for Seattle's offense through 4 weeks. That is most in the league. Number 1 in the league. It's up from 9.7 last year. So what's cool about that is last year, one of the critiques was, they're passing it too much. This Ryan Grubb offense isn't focused on running the ball. This year's offense hasn't been running the ball very efficiently, though they are focused on it. But what's really cool is this year's offense has been really efficient and explosive with the pass. And you guys can guess the receiver that's caught the single longest pass from Sam Darnold in each of these 4 games, because it's the same guy. JSN.
Second down. All right, Stacy, your Huskies fell to number 1 Ohio State on Saturday. The loss wasn't even the worst thing about that game. Give us 2 things that are driving you crazy 48 hours later.
I might make it 3. Is this a safe space? Can I just complain to you guys about a couple things?
No one's listening right now.
Thing that made me most upset from this game is something that wasn't even the Huskies' fault. The worst roughing the passer call on 2nd and 19, mind you, that I've ever seen in my entire life.
4-man rush. Sayan in trouble. Throws late and throws it away. And there's a flag.
I wonder if they're going to call roughing the passer here. He did throw it away.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer with high contact. Defense number 11. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Tie, that's a no-no.
Right here. Let's see. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh boy is right. That's bumping the passer, I guess. Maybe you could make it a 2-yard penalty because it's absolutely ridiculous. That is not a roughing the passer call, Curtis. You pointed it out yourself. He didn't even fall down.
Yeah, Sam was still standing after it.
What are you talking about? That is egregious. Now, here's the thing. That ends up being a massive momentum shifter for Seattle. And you can say, the Huskies wouldn't have won anyways. Washington wouldn't have won this game no matter what. And you'd probably be right, but it doesn't mean that we can't all complain about a horrible call, especially one that certainly benefits the number 1 team in the country. I'm just saying. The second thing is bringing the house on 3rd and 11, like a 0 blitz look. I don't hate the idea of blitzing on 3rd and long. Obviously, that's kind of the point. But if you're going to send that many guys, you need to get home. And at the very least, you need to make it impossible for Sayan to find Jeremiah Smith, the best receiver in college football. And they call up a perfect play for it, crossing right over, getting that touchdown. It's just, again, I guess credit to Ohio State, credit to Ryan Day, credit to them for having a perfect response to that blitz. But it just felt like the risk wasn't worth the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
That's right.
On that one, that's exactly how I feel about that one. The fake field goal was my final one I want to complain about, but I don't have enough time because I want to flip the script.
Oh.
I got 2 baseball questions for Curtis Rogers. What's next?
Oh, what a transition. That's Matt Nelson, ladies and gentlemen.
Curtis,
best board up in the game.
Can you please make a case for the Red Sox to beat the Yankees? Because I'm going to be honest, I'm a little worried about the second hottest team in baseball also being the one that hits more home runs than anyone else.
I can make a case. The Red Sox against the Yankees in the 2025 season went 9-4 against New York, including a home sweep of them in June, and then also they took 3 of 4 from the Yankees the last time they played in a series in Yankee Stadium. Game 1 starter, Garrett Crochet, this season against the Yankees, 27 innings pitched, just 20 hits allowed, a 3.29 ERA, 39 strikeouts in those 27 innings. He has yet to lose to the Yankees this season. Also, looking at Crochet's numbers against individual Yankees, Aaron Judge, he's got 2 home runs career against Garrett Crochet and 15 at-bats. You know how 11 of those 15 at-bats have ended? In a strikeout.
What a bum!
Yeah, Garrett Crochet is just an absolute monster. Probably going to win the American League Cy Young. That's who gets the ball for the Red Sox in Game 1. Also, you have got a Red Sox team that, look, they've got talent. Like, it's not like this is the Sisters of the Poor going up against the Yankees either. Like, this is a really good Red Sox team that I think can give the Yankees a lot of fits. Another thing to watch out for, too, the Yankees have already said that Ben Rice, who is their hottest hitter outside of Aaron Judge, he's not going to get the start at catcher in Game 1. It's going to go to Austin Wells, who definitely has not hit the same way that Ben Rice has this season. So one of your best bats for the Yankees not in the lineup in Game 1 against Garrett Crochet. I think things are maybe leaning towards the Red Sox, at least in Game 1. So you got to win Game 1. That's the most important one in these wild card series. So I think there's a case to be made for the Red Sox against this Yankees ball club.
Next up. Yes. Let's talk about the bracket that concerns Seattle. The Tigers are favored over Cleveland, despite being a 6 seed. We all know why. They got a lot of talent. But tell us how the Guardians can absolutely get this done.
They can get it done by the way they've been getting it done for about a month now. This is from Cleveland Guardians PR. From September 5th to now, so 24 days, basically 3.5 weeks, Cleveland starting pitchers have allowed more than two earned runs in a start only 3 times in that stretch. Gavin Williams, Guardians ace, he gets the ball tomorrow for Cleveland against Detroit in Game 1. His last 2 starts against the Detroit Tigers, combined 11 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts, only 2 runs allowed in those last 2 starts, 7 hits allowed in those last 2 starts combined. He has owned the Tigers over his last 2 outings, and he gets them again tomorrow at home with some, obviously, a very favorable crowd behind him. I think Cleveland can get off to a great start in that series and take down the Tigers. I get that he'll be facing probably Tarek Skubal in Game 1, but you know what? Gavin Williams has been matching him pitch for pitch, and I think Cleveland can absolutely match wits.
I know there's questions about Cleveland's offense outside of Jose Ramirez, but with him on the mound, I'm like, what about Detroit's offense? What if we're looking at a very low-scoring 1-0 win here for Cleveland, let's say? Oh, I like that.
I would love it.
Wow, that was great. That was a great preview, Curtis. Thank you. All right, well, let's stick with baseball here. A fun post from The Athletic this morning highlights each playoff team's best and worst stat entering the postseason. We'll tell you what they have for the Mariners next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Get inside the huddle.
The handoff inside. He's going to go. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Taking you inside the VMAC every week. Thursdays, noon to 2.
Our guys show up to play.
Player interviews.
It's obviously been paying off. It's going to continue to do that.
Previewing this week's matchup.
We'll say they come out and just run the ball down the Niners' throats.
And everything Seahawks.
If anybody had a doubt, don't.
The Huddle. Every Thursday at noon. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
This March, Wendy's is fueling the madness with amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it.
Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
The home of your American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
The intent for the training is always to, of course, make a better experience for the customer. But from my position, I would say I'm most proud of watching our own people grow.
I think a lot of us really do want the opportunity. I will work my butt off for an opportunity.
I started cleaning cars. Now I have this great opportunity to be a president of one of the greatest auto organizations I feel there is. And it's not that I was smarter than anyone. It's just I was around great people and always wanted to learn. So for me, it's super fulfilling to be able to pass that along to people and see people with the same drive and want to make a great life for themselves, right? So that to me is training. That's gratifying for me.
When leaders focus on growing people, this is where leadership becomes service, and customers feel the difference. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Coming up in 15, the best and worst stat the Mariners have entering the postseason. Before we get to that, taking a look around the timeline, it was an emotional postgame on Sunday as Root Sports signed off as the home of the Mariners TV broadcast for the final time. First, Jen Mueller announced Sunday that this was her final game with the Mariners.
This week has been a very difficult week for the Root Sports family, but you wouldn't have known it because of the professionalism of my colleagues who celebrated alongside you while our hearts were breaking. You guys are the best. To you at home, thank you so much. Brad and Angie, I'm not even worried about ugly crying on TV because there's nobody back at the studio to cut a blooper reel. So I feel pretty safe in this. I love you, Brad and Angie. I have loved every minute. This is my final broadcast with this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, it's an honor to work beside you. It really is.
Brad, Adam, and Angie tried their best to sign off one last time.
You know, Bill Kruger, he has just been so incredible throughout the years. Dave Valley, Nick, who has been my photographer, you know, behind the camera for so many years at the Ford Sports desk. Spent more time with him than my family and you, Brad. Yeah. I mean, Brad, I met Brad before I met my husband, before I had the kids. Yeah. And so this is an honor having this last show with you, my friend.
Appreciate you, of course. I echo all that Angie said. We have a statement I'm going to try to read. You might have to.
Okay. I'll start.
Please.
Okay. Today, folks, it ends an era for Root Sports televising Mariners baseball. We know that change started this season behind the scenes and takes over next year. We want to thank everyone who worked on these broadcasts through the years and those at our office who contributed behind the scenes to support them and make them a success.
Yeah, the broadcast is going to be in good hands next year, carrying on the Root Sports legacy. We thank you, the fans, so much for watching over the years. Here's a look back at a memorable season that we hope ends with a World Series.
I know Jen, Brad, and Angie took a lot of time during their sign-offs thanking the crew, thanking everyone they work with, and being so gracious about just making sure that they were shouting people out. But I think I speak for every person when I say that we all thank them. It was hard not to get emotional watching, and certainly even listening to it again today.
Yeah. I mean, those three are the first faces and voices you hear when you tune into a Mariners
Literally,
TV
they're like a
broadcast.
part of my living room.
Yeah,
like when I meal prep on Sunday, I'm like, well, no, obviously, like Jen's gonna have her specials that are en route, and then I'm gonna hear, Brad, or you're gonna hear Angie on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Same way I feel about your play-by-plays. Those are just regular voices and regular parts of your routine.
And the fact that they have been together as a team it's been a long time since they have all worked together, or that they have worked together with Root Sports. I mean, very rarely do you see a pre- and post-game show, whether it be TV or radio, have the same cast for as long as Root had those three, and as long as they had the broadcast. But it's funny because I obviously grew up around here. You grew up around here, and I've tuned into Mariners baseball every night for my entire life. Mm-hmm. And one of the craziest things was like the first time I ever got to work a game in the Mariners press box. Like, I'm seeing Jen Mueller walk around. I'm seeing Brad Adam walk around. I'm seeing Angie Mentink walk around. I'm a little like starstruck in a way because it's like, holy cow! Like,
one time,
they're
Brad,
real people.
Yes, Brad and Angie were on an elevator, and I told you this, and they got off on the floor. I was going to get off, but I didn't know. I got so like tongue-tied about like, well, what do I keep saying? I'm going to look like an idiot, so I just stayed on the elevator. They made me so nervous.
And what's great is that all three of them are world-class people. I
can attest that.
Yeah,
wonderful.
They're
Jen
great
and,
people.
Yeah, I've talked with both Jen and Angie, whether it's like asking questions or just like no. Just like maybe it's just like one little thing, right? You don't want to bother them. You don't want to, but both incredibly knowledgeable and smart people.
One of the best indications of people in this industry who have definitely earned a lot of clout is just kind of how they treat others. And one time, so during the 2020 NFL season, I had surgery on my ankle. This was when I crossed the street and tore my Achilles.
Yeah, by crossing the street. No, it's important that there's no other context provided.
That infamous moment.
That's the end of
where
it.
I crossed the street,
middle, and end of the story.
Tore my Achilles, and 5 years later, still have soreness in my Achilles from that moment. But I had to get around on a knee scooter, and Matt always makes fun of me for that, even to this day. About
constantly
me squeaking around the halls.
So funny.
But I was still working Seahawks games at that time. And we had to do the game from the stadium then because there was rules about how many people could be in the building here at each time. But I'm in my knee scooter and I'm trying to go get water, and Jen just comes up to me, and we had never worked together on a broadcast before, but she comes to me and says, "Hey, don't worry, I got it. I'll fill up your water." And I'm just like, "Oh, thanks, Jen." That's a big weight off my shoulders here because I hated wheeling around wherever it was. And she's like, "Hey, don't worry. I got it. Just let me know." So I always look back to that moment. I'm like, yeah, man, that was really cool of her. And then, this is the first season that I've gotten to work with Angie on pre and post game too, because she's been doing a lot more radio this year and just can attest, she's an incredible worker, so respected in that building.
Yeah.
And obviously is deserving of all the flowers. All three of them deserving of all the flowers that they got yesterday. Seeing the outpouring yesterday that got me, emotional.
Yeah. I'll say about both Angie and Jen too have gotten definitely their fair share of sexist losers and trolls and they've always you would never know if it bothered them at all. I don't know if it did because they always handle it with so much grace. And also again, when I say knowledgeable, I mean I've talked to Jen before and she knows everything about everything.
Yes. And I was thrilled to hear that Jen's going to continue with the Seahawks. So we'll still get to hear her on this very station every Sunday. I hope that wherever the Mariners end up next season, because Major League Baseball is going to take over their production, and who knows what it's going to look like in terms of pre and post game show. I hope that Brad and Angie are still there for us to see, because it's great to have that familiar face and familiar voice of those two.
Well, and not only that, but they know this team inside and out.
Yeah.
Everyone en route knows this team, and I worry about, I don't know, a New York-based crew trying to cover the Mariners.
Yeah.
When Mariners games start at 10 their time, and you're not here, you're not in the clubhouse. I don't know if that's what'll happen. I'm sure they'll try to have a local presence. But.
Yeah. I think Major League Baseball is going to take over. We don't know what the channel is going to look like next season.
Yeah, we have no idea.
It's not going to be Root Sports because Root Sports is going dark.
And the Mariners aren't the only team that are. This is kind of where the league has been going.
Yeah, Major League Baseball is trying to get every team's broadcast under their umbrella so they can sell it kind of the way the NFL does, where they just sell it as an entire group of 30.
You get MLB Plus.
Yeah, so it just, the regional sports network is just not feasible going forward, and it stinks because that's just how the world is. And it stinks too that it's not just these three that are no longer going to be on our TVs for indefinitely, but all the people that work behind the scenes.
I was going to say
cameramen, production people,
a lot of people that work very, very, very hard to bring us a product that we appreciate, and sometimes you don't even realize everything they do behind the scenes. And so, it was really emotional broadcast.
For sure.
A very weird end to this season where you're simultaneously excited about what's to come with the season, and
then it's
so somber.
Man, yeah.
I know.
Loved those guys.
Yeah.
for sure.
Speaking of the Mariners, I do want to get back to that post from The Athletic, the Mariners' best and worst stat entering the postseason. That's coming up next.
The Mike McDonald Show, the morning after every Seahawks game at 9:30 with Brock and Salk.
How good was Sam Darnold last night?
Oh, he was great. He's awesome, man. He's great. He just so poised, accurate, competes, tough. Great decisions. I mean, I think the cool thing right now that showed up last couple of games is he's ripped it when it's there, and when it's not, he's taking care of the ball. And that's big time because you live to fight another day, and he's awesome.
Get the podcast on the Seattle Sports app and seattlesports.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Construction. It was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop, and boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, pcfgroup.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Shirley. We offer 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months on new roofs. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at revivemenshealth.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
If you plan to use the carpool lanes along SR 167, you'll soon need a flex pass set to HOV mode to ride free. That's a change. Having Good to Go always costs less than pay by mail. That is not a change. Learn more at goodtogo167.com.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to the Seahawks game Sunday, October 5th. Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom right corner, and enter to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter through the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds. Do it every day, September 23rd through September 29th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win. From the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
This is the home of the Seahawks.
Going to let one fly deep. Got a man out there. Ball is caught down at the 10-yard line, and it's JSN.
Seattle Sports.
Are your investment dollars working as hard as they should be? You've spent years building your future. Don't let outdated advice put it at risk. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. We're a veteran-owned firm proud to bring a new standard of financial care to the Seattle area. Our nationally recognized advisors are fiduciaries, ethically bound to put your interests first. That's the highest standard of care in the industry. As a privately held company, we answer to you, our valued clients, not shareholders. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a customized plan. From Bellevue to Tacoma, get advice you can count on. It's time to take a fresh look at your financial plan. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-466-3300. That's 206-466-3300. Trajan Wealth. Plan smarter, dream bigger.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Between his hobbies and decades of work in a boatyard, Philip had put his body through a lot.
I'm an avid fly fisherman and an avid skier. It takes its toll.
Not to mention one other thing.
I had a near-fatal motorcycle accident. Absolutely obliterated my lower left leg again.
Philip couldn't live with the pain anymore, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Listening to all these radio spots, I said, what do I got to lose?
What was your experience like with Dr. Wagner?
What I was so impressed with Mark about is that how often you have a surgery like this, and the guy calls you the next day to see how you're doing. I can't say enough good things about the guy, honestly.
And how are you feeling now?
I have no pain, none. Zero.
Wow. So would you recommend stem cell therapy to others?
I'm a fan, believe me. I'd recommend it to anybody.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers.
Hey.
In for Michael Bumpus. Curtis, I have some stats that I'm hoping you can help us put into context.
Okay.
So this is from The Athletic, a great column on the best and worst stat of every single playoff team. And they tried to go pretty in depth or find stats that told a deeper picture or a better picture or took a deeper look at a team. So it's not like home runs, Yankees are first. It's well, take a listen. Okay, so here's the best stat for the Mariners. Am I saying this right? XFIP?
XFIP.
XFIP.
Yeah.
All stats. I thought BABIP was my favorite. Then here comes this one. Okay, so for the best stat for the Mariners, they have second half XFIP.
That's
Tell us
right.
what we should know.
So FIP is XFIP is using the projected home run rate instead of the actual home run rate. So the home run rate is determined by that season's league average home run to fly ball rate. So the Mariners have the best, I believe, of any team in the league right now in the second half, which is great because when you look at what the Mariners, sort of traditional numbers have been in the season second half, not so good, but also this shows that there is potential for better results than what they have been getting in terms of home runs allowed, in terms of fly ball rate. So second half XFIP of 3.51, best in Major League Baseball. They also have the league's best strikeout to walk ratio, so you're not allowing extra base runners as much as other teams would, and the second best expected ERA of 3.54. This is all from The Athletic. So, like, all these expected ones is based off of just how these plays would normally play out rather than, maybe some errors thrown in there, some balls getting out of reach of defenders. So the Mariners pitching should be producing better results than what they have shown in the season second half, which means things will start to even out a little bit, hopefully,
Back
in the
towards the mean.
postseason.
My favorite part of that is they said they're the only team in baseball that's allowed only one pass ball this season. Big Dupper does more than swing a bat. When I don't think Cal has a pass ball.
No, he was not the one to allow it. I believe it might have been Mitch Garver.
I think it's on Garver. So I'd be like, wait a minute, but it wasn't me. Okay, let's go to the worst stat. Run value via extra bases taken.
So, the Mariners are at -10, which means that when they are trying to take that extra base, they have not been so successful this season. This article says the Mariners are one of the slowest teams in baseball, and defensively they haven't been that great either. So they've been the worst at taking extra bases and turning that into runs. Not coincidentally, they rank near the bottom of the league in a StatCast metric called base running runs, and in the bottom third in Fangraphs, base running runs above average. So got to be better on the base paths. Got to not run into so many outs. A lot of that might be, plays at the plate where guys are getting waved in, and it's not even close. Also, don't get picked off, Julio. Looking at you specifically. You can't be wasting outs this time of year, especially with how valuable that they are. So that is something that the Mariners have to absolutely get right here over the next week, or at least this weekend, because you got to be on your P's and Q's. Can't be giving outs on the base paths.
What's the overall story that these both tell about the Mariners heading into the postseason? Like, if you were not a Mariners fan and you looked at, okay, they are the best second half xFIP and the worst run value via extra bases taken.
I think it kind of shows that both the pitching and offense could stand to be better than what they are, especially if you're losing outs on the base paths. That means that you could be scoring even more runs than what you're doing. Meanwhile, if your xFIP is what it is for the Mariners, your pitching staff should be doing better than what they're doing, especially your starters. And I think the starters I have more confidence in right now than the relievers. Andres Munoz hasn't been nearly as dominant as he was in the first half of the season. That's expected over the course of a full 162. But I think right now the Mariners, I wouldn't necessarily say that they've disappointed with the 90 wins, but you look at what this team can do, and obviously in the second half they have had a better go of it than they did in the first half, because in the first half they were barely above 500, at least come the All-Star break. Needed that 3-game sweep of the Tigers to really kind of assert themselves as okay, we are a team worth paying attention to. And then in the second half they made all those trades. But yeah, I think this Mariners team can definitely be better than what they have shown, which is hard to say which is even harder to do because they rattled off 17 of 18 to finish off September before that Dodgers series. But yeah, I think the Mariners have a very high ceiling. That's what these two stats show me, is that they can be better than what they are. And I think that I have confidence that they can be better than what they are, and especially going up against either Cleveland or Detroit, two teams that, yes, do have reasons to be concerned about. But again, the tail of the tape, outside of Tarek Skubal, I think the Mariners have the edge just about everywhere you look when it comes to matching up against either Cleveland or Detroit. I just want Cleveland to win this series so bad so that we don't have to see Tarek Skubal. And I get the Mariners are 2-0 against him. You're 2-0 against the very best pitcher in baseball.
I wouldn't lean into it.
It's not. I don't think that is a trend you can bank on, especially when these games start to matter more and more.
Worst stat for the Guardians, batting average.
Yeah, their offense isn't very good.
What a year when the Mariners are not leading in that one.
Yeah,
into the postseason, which
feels great.
Goes back to some of the sound we were listening to earlier from Jerry Dipoto, who was talking about the difference between this year's team and in 2022. We've been talking about that already, that in 2022 it was about ending the drought and just the emotional win of that moment. And then obviously there was the emotional win and that shocking comeback against the Blue Jays. Wow, how great. Divisional matchup against the Astros and all of that. But this team is better. This year's team is better than that team, top to bottom.
For sure.
Pitching included.
Looking at the Tigers, their best stat, line drive rate, so they hit the ball pretty hard, 21.6%. So when they're making contact, they're making loud contact. Worst stat, stolen bases, just 60. So they are not active on the base paths.
I will say, not active on the base paths, and while the Mariners have quite a few stolen bases, this also said they're the slowest team.
In terms of sprint speed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying to use that to add to.
But as we know, Josh Naylor, does that matter? Does it matter?
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, okay, does it matter if Cal's not going to be the fastest guy, Naylor's not going to be the fastest guy, but if both are having career highs with stolen bases, with Naylor obviously far exceeding Cal, Rosarena steals bases, Julio steals. Once you're on, your guys can steal.
Yeah, I think
that doesn't matter as much to me that they're not squeezing a double out of a single.
Yeah, I think the sprint speed is more concerning on balls hit into the gap, where you're going to need somebody to go first to third or first to home on a double hit into the gap. But as Josh Naylor has shown, stolen bases are maybe if maybe more so, if not, equal to, it's just timing, really. Mm-hmm. It's just reading the starting pitcher, because he is one of the slowest guys in baseball in terms of going from home to first, but he's got 19 stolen bases as a Mariner. He had 11 with the Diamondbacks. He had a 20-30 season. So yeah, I'm not concerned about sprint speed when it comes to stealing bases, because the Mariners have 2 guys with 30 stolen bases this year. Cal's got 14. You've got plenty of guys who can swipe bags on this team.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. How do the Mariners avoid adding rust during a bye? And is Brian Wu going to pitch in a massive ALDS? Plus, who's the AL MVP right now? Let's ask Jason Churchill next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
It's been 24 years since
the 2001 Western Division champions.
Mariners Nation, you've earned this banner.
There's no better feeling than this. We work so hard each day.
With a first-round bye in the bag, what's ahead for the AL West champion Mariners in the postseason?
It's a lot of great things ahead. I can feel it.
SeattleSports.com has the latest on the scenarios.
We're not done yet. We got a World Series to go get.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine, and you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age. making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
The ballpark is rocking like 2001. Let us clear up your allergies so you can enjoy more of each game. Hey, it's Dr. Ryan Stern of the Stern Sinus Center. Let us fix your ear, nose, and throat problems. Let's make your congestion, sinusitis, snoring, and allergies a non-issue. We can diagnose and treat everything from allergy testing and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced balloon sinuplasty. Come and see us in Federal Way in Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Giants receiver Malik Neighbors is out for the rest of the season. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, tests this morning confirmed the team's fear that yesterday Malik Neighbors tore his ACL leaping for a catch in the Giants' win over the Chargers. Meanwhile, more injury concerns in San Francisco. ESPN's Nick Wagner reporting Kyle Shanahan said Brock Purdy is dealing with soreness in his toe. 49ers quarterback already missed a few weeks with turf toe, and the Niners have a short week. They're taking on the Rams Thursday.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Jason Churchill joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Jason, how's it going?
Well, it could be better. Have you looked outside the last little while?
Is it pouring down rain? Is it sunny? I don't have a window.
It is just garbage. What is this? Do I live in Seattle or something? I guess I do. That's my fault.
I mean, I like it. I like the rain when I'm inside because then I don't feel guilty about being inside. Like the worst is when I'm inside watching TV at 5 p.m. and it's gorgeous and like a cloudless sky. So I can co-sign this.
Yeah, sports does that to us, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It also officially means it feels like October, and the Mariners are playing in October, which is very, very cool. I'm going to start with talking about what it means to get the bye. I keep hearing like, hey, you got to make sure that you keep from getting that rust, and people have pointed to the Dodgers against the Padres last year and maybe starting slow. Is that something that you see, A, normally happening for those top two seeds, and B, that you think could hurt the Mariners?
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough information on that to say that's a thing. I think it depends on each individual player, each individual clubhouse, and it all comes down to I'm going to sound like a broken record like the next 3 weeks. This all comes down to execution. Every single pitch, every single decision, and player performance. It always does. There's no such thing as momentum. Regular season ends. That 17 of 18 means absolutely nothing. The Cleveland run means absolutely nothing because now you have to just out-execute the other team. Period, end of story. And now you're going to be playing teams that are actually pretty good instead of running into the Colorado Rockies every once in a while, running into the Angels every once in a while. These teams earn their way there. So I'm not real big on the whole rust thing. I think each player is different. They'll handle it their way. I think it's a lot like the All-Star break. For these players, you get 4 or 5 days off. It's kind of the same thing, and I think you just kind of follow what has worked for you in the past.
Jason, we're all trying to figure out how the Mariners are going to shape up their rotation for the start of the American League Division Series. That's also going to be very dependent on who they end up playing between Cleveland or Detroit. But maybe outside of the rotation, what is the roster move or moves that are most intriguing to you about how they can build out this playoff roster?
Yeah, I think it's how they deploy Luis Castillo and Bryce Miller in a series where neither one of them, or at least one of those two, are not going to start a game. When you're in a 5-game series, you certainly don't need all 5. You're probably not even going to need 4 to start, right? So how do you use them in that process? Because that's a nice advantage to have 2 quality arms like that. And I know Bryce Miller's had a little bit of an off year. Castillo's thrown the ball pretty well lately. I thought really good against the Rockies. How do you use those arms? I mean, you get a starter out there. One of my big keys to the entire postseason is for all teams really, when do you pull the plug on a starter, especially early in the series, because it can burn your bullpen while you have those days off, and that helps. What if your starter struggles? It's the 4th inning. You don't have time. This isn't September 1st. It's not August 17th. You can't just say, well, we don't want to burn the bullpen. We'll save them. We'll have them eat some innings. We'll have them just bite it you can't do that in the postseason. So the advantage Seattle has, and maybe even over some other clubs, is the quality of those 2 starters in a shorter series that you're not going to use to start games, and how you deploy them. That's the big thing for me. If it's 3 2/3 innings, it's a 2-2 game, and your starter just doesn't really have it that day, and he's got 78 pitches already, wherever you just got to get him out. That's where a Bryce Miller or a Luis Castillo, or both to some extent, can come in and maybe get you 3 innings and bridge you to Brash, Spire, and Munoz. That to me is going to be the most fascinating thing here, because you leave your starter in longer, all of a sudden it's 5-2. You take him out too soon, you burn that advantage you have with a Castillo or a Miller being able to get you 2, 3, 4 innings and get you to the back end of the bullpen. So I'm really curious to see how the Mariners handle that.
Is there an argument to be made that the Mariners are the most complete team on paper in the American League playoffs?
Yeah, I think you can make that argument. When I look at these teams, I look for where the holes are. How many holes do they have where they have a consistently below average output? It's not necessarily about the individual players. And you look at roster to roster, and then you look where the impact comes from, where the significantly above average. So you look at a team like the Yankees, obviously guys like Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger having really good years, Fried and Rodon at the top of that rotation, got some quality behind them. That bullpen, very capable of shutting you down for 3 or 4 innings a game. I look for that sort of thing. And I think Seattle, New York, right there at the top in combination with those things, lack of holes in their lineup, lack of holes in their rotation, that bullpen, and impact. And then I think Toronto is kind of weirdly probably the 3rd best team. And I say weirdly, even though they had the 2nd best record in the league, nobody's really talking about them right now. And I think the year that George Springer has had over there, and they have Vlad, and if everybody's healthy over there, I think they're probably right beneath Seattle and New York when it comes to that. Complete rosters can do a little bit or a lot of everything, and they have those players that can just take over games offensively, 3 for 4, a couple of bombs, drive in 4 or 5 that you really have to be careful with. You can't let them beat you, and that sets up everyone else. So I think those 3 teams, and it is the 3 teams with the best records. So I'm not really saying anything nobody really expected, but I do think Seattle is a mark or so ahead of Toronto. And I think New York is probably the scariest team in the American League, despite the fact they're going to be coming out of the wild card series.
Jason, looking at this Cleveland-Detroit matchup, of those 2 teams, which one do you think the Mariners match up the best with?
Yeah, that's a really good question. They went 4 of 6 against both of those clubs. We've seen them get to Schuylkill a couple times this year and win those games. Very similar teams. When I look at Cleveland, it's like if you can get to 4 before they do, you're going to win that game. Like they just really struggle. You guys were talking about last segment. They don't run a lot. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They're 29th in average, 29th in OBP, and those numbers have not changed much during their run. They have just pitched the daylights out of this. I think Detroit's the more talented team, but I think Cleveland's the team playing better right now. And to be honest with you, this whole, if you're a Mariners fan out there, just hope this series goes 3 and that they have to use all their starters and they have to use all their bullpen guys every single game, extra innings. That's what you should be rooting for. The more innings these 2 teams have to play, at the end of the day, it doesn't really come out, advantageous one way or the other. Again, it's kind of like the momentum thing. I don't really believe in the momentum thing, but you don't want to face Schuylkill twice on full rest if you can avoid it. So if you can find a situation where you're only going to face them once on full rest, you want to do that. But I don't think you feel that way about Gavin Williams or Tanner Bybee, even though they're pretty good starters. So I look at the pitching, and then Cleveland has a decided advantage in that series, despite the fact that the end of their bullpen, lost a key guy in Clase. I think if I'm Seattle, I'd rather play Detroit. I'd rather face Skubal that once or twice and then face Flaherty and Casey Mize and that somewhat shallow bullpen and an offense that's been middling for, a good 2-3 months. I think I'd rather Detroit, but I think Seattle beats either one of them.
Power obviously translates well to the postseason. It's kind of central to a lot of the World Series contenders that we see is their ability to hit home runs. That being said, is there a question you have about a Seattle lineup that we all, and I'm speaking for you, but I'm assuming you believe this as well, think is just better and more well-rounded than their 2022 version? But is there a question you have still?
Yeah, it's the starters. They just, I think we've seen some signs that maybe they're finding it a little bit. I don't put much stock in Sunday start for Bryce Miller, and he may not start a game, anyway, in the entire postseason maybe, but they haven't been the same. Brian Wu has, and there's a question about, what's going to happen there with him. Is he available? Is he going to start game 1 or 2? Does he have the full allotment of pitches? Like, what's going on there? But assuming he's good to go, you got to feel pretty good about where you are. But they just have not been the same. Logan Gilbert has struggled to just be that consistent 6 innings, sometimes get into the 7th. And he's been a little bit better lately, but we've just seen those longer innings. It's been a little tougher for him to get the out. Like his strikeout rate has skyrocketed, but just a deeper counts. George Kirby's look good. He's found the shape on his fastball, found the command on his fastball. And he's looked better, but the body of work this year suggests to you that rotation is not as good as it was in the year past. The numbers are not lying to you. That's where they have been this year. And injury has absolutely been a part of that. But when you look into each one individually, Brian Wu's the only one that has as good or better season than he had a year ago. So I think, to me, that's the biggest question, because even with the lineup being long and full, and there's no automatic out in there. It's a pretty fun lineup. There's speed, there's balance lefty-righty, there's balance in terms of hitting the fastball, staying back on breaking balls, hitting the home run, putting the ball in play. There's balance there. But when you look at those stars, this is how that team was built, to get to the end of the bullpen. So you have to get to, into the 6th at least consistently. And those games where Kirby and Miller and Castillo and everybody but Wu, Gilbert as well, getting knocked out in the 4th or the 5th inning a little more often than we're used to seeing, that's the thing I would worry about. And that's why that potential advantage, having a Castillo or having a Miller to just come in and pick up where Logan Gilbert left off, if he just, doesn't have it and keep you in the game and bridge you to the back of that bullpen. My biggest question is not the bullpen. It's how do the Mariners get to those big 3. And I'll throw Bizzardo in there. He's thrown the ball really well. In certain situations, Bizzardo has been really, really good, particularly against right-handed batters. How do they get to those guys in their best situations? Because you can't be asked to cover 5 innings a night and win in the postseason consistently.
Every time we've had you on, I would guess we've asked you one question at least about these starters, because you're absolutely right. It's all of them except for Wu that just hasn't quite looked the same. And I found that my, hypothesis about it was changing throughout the season. Like at first I thought, Kirby and Gilbert are coming back from injury, so they got to shake the rust off. But I feel like the trend has kind of continued where they'll have a great start. We've seen 14 and 13 strikeouts from them, respectively. But then we've seen some bad outings. Now that it's been 162, have you been able to kind of pinpoint what you think might be happening with some of these guys? And is it missing pitches? Is it a regression to something?
Yeah, I don't know that it's regression. I think there's a pretty extensive book on these guys at this point, 3rd and 4th year into their career, depending on who we're talking about, 5th, if we're talking about Gilbert. I think that helps the league a little bit, and you have to adjust. Now, he's added pitches, and he's different. Have you gone back lately and watched Logan Gilbert, 21, 22, even 23, and just watch a couple of pitches and then watch a couple of pitches from the end of this season? That delivery is nowhere near what it used to be. And I'm not sure if that's just kind of how this has gone. I'm not sure if that's fully by design, partially by design, but I don't look at that. And I'm not one of those guys who says, that delivery traditionally is ugly. He can't do that. He can't start. He's not going to get through 7. I don't feel that way. But I look at that delivery and think, how can you be consistent pitch after pitch, inning after inning with that? Again, I'm not saying he can't, but that's my first thought. What's going on there? Is that by design? Is that by – and then I go to Kirby, and I think that's the biggest thing. I think Miller's thing is injury related. I think Castillo's just getting all those innings on him. And I just think, sometimes he's just not getting the spin on the slider. Maybe there's a grip change coming or something. I don't know. But with Gilbert, it's the delivery that I think about. I don't know that that's the issue. With George Kirby, were they not trying to get him to stop throwing strikes as often, to stop being around the plate so much, to try to get hitters to chase? Well, I think that's what happened. And I think now, you saw in that Houston series that, he's best served throwing the ball around the plate with his best stuff. And I think he's getting back to that lately. I think that they stick with that, he's fine.
Jason, last one from me. The Mariners, down the stretch, have played Jorge Polanco quite a bit at second base. He's made this season 34 starts at second base over a course of 162. Is there pressure or just kind of what are the challenges with this lineup if Polanco isn't able to hold up at second base over the course of however long the Mariners last here in the postseason, because he hasn't really played in the field a lot this year?
Yeah, and I think all those starts, what did you say, how many was it? Because they've really all been since, June?
Yeah.
And most of them since July?
34 starts at second base this year for him.
Yeah, and a lot of that packed into about 70 or 80 games. So, yeah, I think they know Polanco. Polanco knows himself. I think they'll be careful. But, again, in the postseason, you do have one advantage. Just like with the bullpen, you get that day off in between. You get that travel. You play a couple, you get a day off. You play a couple, you get a day off. You may get rest in between. That's certainly going to help them. But I'm a big advocate of starting your offensive team and then going defense late. And I think you do that more often in the postseason. If you're up 4-1, just for example, you're not going to win a lot of games 10-2 in the postseason, but if you're up 4-1, it's the 8th inning, and Polanco just batted in the 8th. He should not be out there for the bottom of the inning and for the next inning, right? There are a couple of opportunities to go out, depending on who started games, maybe Dom Canzone and right in certain matchups, where you just go to the defensive guy. And I think with Polanco, that can help, trip up and kind of cut off some of those things you might ask him to do that might wear him down, that might actually get him hurt because, I don't really love the phrase injury prone, but he's at that point in his career where he's had so many leg injuries where injury prone might actually be appropriate with him. So I think you just be careful with it. And they almost don't really have a choice. Cole Young's really struggled. Rivas has come through. He can play defense as well. But I don't think you want to start Rivas a whole lot. So I think you just think about him for base running and defense, and don't ask Polanco to do that, particularly with a lead where you're not necessarily going to need his bat late in the game.
Hey, a quick one before we let you go, just because I teased, who's the AL MVP? So I wanted to not just throw the question your way, but to ask you about the discourse that's been happening. I feel like there's been maybe a moving of the goalposts with either guy. It just feels like a bad faith argument going on for AL MVP right now. What are you seeing?
Yeah, it does. I mean, Aaron Judge is the MVP this year. I completely understand where, people kind of fall for the, a catcher hit 60 home runs. It's incredible. It's incredible. Not winning MVP does not take that away from Cal Raleigh. Switch hitter doing all of this and catching all those games, being really good defensively. But even at the strongest stretches of the defensive metrics, some of them that don't even exist right now, even in the Fangraphs wins above replacement formula, the catcher is not being fully credited for what he does. But even stretching that, Aaron Judge has been a more valuable player, by that metric anyway, in the American League. And if I had a vote, I would vote for Aaron Judge. If you would vote for Cal Raleigh, I am not going to argue with you. I'm with you guys. Just don't make up don't slice the season into quarters and these 89 plate appearances, Cal Raleigh's been so good and Aaron Judge has not. It's the whole body of work matters. And to some extent, some people who vote for this just vote for who they think the best player was, and they don't think about the value. And some people really dig into the value. So I think, Cal Raleigh's going to get a lot of votes, and he might actually win it. But if it were me, I would pick Aaron Judge. I mean, that season is just absolutely crazy. The guy hit 330. Well, the first guy to win a batting title and hit 50-plus home runs. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. If this was and it's not just an offensive award. That's one of the biggest, problems with the discourse. But we're talking about a guy who was 104% better than the average hitter in the American League this year.
Just crazy
numbers. Absolutely crazy what he's been doing.
Crazy numbers. Yeah. Newest episode of Baseball Things up now at Prospect Insider on X. He is Jason Churchill. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it.
It's a Reaction Monday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Quickly, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, the Huskies fell to number one Ohio State 24-6 on Saturday, snapping their 22-game Husky Stadium win streak. What's the real headline?
Can we really call it a home game with that much red in the stands?
That was
I didn't like that.
Staggering amount.
I didn't like it.
I tuned in before kickoff, and they do that sweeping crowd shot of Husky Stadium, and there was more red than purple, at least by the Ohio State sideline, which, I mean, you're expecting some visiting team fans in your stadium, but that place was overrun by the Scarlet and Gray.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier kind of like this being part of a continued welcome to the Big Ten and just like the football culture being a little bit different. It's just like those Ohio State fans rolled deep. That being said, my
They'll
Huskies, they'll dox you. They'll go on forums. My Huskies put up a really good fight.
Had some chances.
They had some real
early.
chances in it. Look, that sounds like I'm trying to take some kind of moral victory here, which by no means I am, but I'm saying that I entered into this game emotionally preparing myself for like a blowout, and it ended up being the defensive effort of kind of keeping them in this one was really impressive. Didn't like the fake field goal. Didn't love that.
No.
And especially didn't like that roughing the passer call. That was horrible.
Yeah, those two plays had a huge impact on the game because the roughing the passer call was just a 7-3 ball game at that point. It felt like the fake field goal, it might have been doing too much.
It was definitely doing too much. It was poorly executed, so clearly it wasn't the right decision.
When you've got the number one team, I wouldn't say they were on the ropes at that point, but you definitely could have kept the pressure on them by just getting the points right there. I think you got to take it. Whenever the points present themselves against a team like Ohio State, you got to take them.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, the Mariners will face the winner of the Guardians-Tigers wildcard series, but Major League Baseball has a scheduling nightmare on their hands for Sunday's Game 2 in Seattle. What's the real headline?
Reached for comment. The NFL said, we got to be honest, we didn't think this would happen. Get ready, NFL.
This is going to be...
Move the kickoff.
Awful. Yeah, so the Seahawks could end up pushing their kickoff back an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. If the Mariners are scheduled to play at the same
a world time. Where MLB, who I know has first say, but is there a world where they move it back?
I hope so. That way both games can kind of go on uninterrupted and you're not having one on top of the other. Like, yeah, put the Mariners at 6 p.m. because I believe 6:08 is the latest start a playoff game will happen because it's 9 p.m. East Coast time. So that is the potential for what Major League Baseball could do, but so long as the Red Sox or Yankees are alive in the other series, that is probably going to be the primetime matchup.
I mean, it's like, why don't you just do it for those two games, and then on the travel day that either team has, then you could flip it back. You don't have to keep the Yankees out of primetime if you don't want to.
Yeah. Either way, Major League Baseball, you're not going to beat the NFL in a ratings contest. Like, Sunday Night Football is going to beat whatever playoff game you've got going on opposite that. This would just be helping out a team that prior to this ALDS will have only hosted one playoff game in 24 years.
Well, and am I being lame in saying that, or too careful in saying that I also have genuine like public safety and public transportation concerns?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, in addition to,
it's gonna be
well, we want this game
brutal.
here and this game, like, there's incentive on the part, I think, of leagues to make sure people get to and leave the game safely.
Right.
And you've got over 100,000 people that are going to be walking around two venues that are within, I mean, feet of each other. It's a 5-minute walk.
You can see the other from the other.
They share a single street.
I don't have a lot of pull at City Hall, but I'm telling you right now, people in Seattle, the city of Seattle, the Seattle City Council, get more buses headed down that way, get more trains, light rail, do whatever it takes to get people in and out via public transportation better than what it currently is.
I think it's crazy that this is how you chose to announce that you're running for mayor. Or City Hall president.
You're only gonna get one term in Seattle. That's kind of how it works with mayor. I believe it's been a long time since there's been a 2-term mayor in this town.
I know. Looking back on a wild Sunday night matchup coming up next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
ESPN senior MLB insider Jeff Passan with Brock and Salk.
How complete is this Mariner team right now?
We have a story coming out on ESPN.com. I think it's tomorrow. First question, what's the boldest prediction you've heard from an MLB executive or scout? Passan, the Seattle Mariners are going to win the World Series. If you just objectively look at what the Mariners are doing right now, they have had the best offense in Major League Baseball in the month of September.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Do you have a car you want to sell, but you just don't want to go through all the hassle? With all the scams and security risks out there, more and more people just aren't comfortable selling their own car. So how do you get the most money for your used car without having to sell it yourself? Stacy here with the answer. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car and pay you right up front for it, but it gets way better. Once they resell your old car, they share half that profit with you. The question I get most from friends and colleagues is, well, what's the catch? How can they offer this? It's actually super simple. All the money they save by not traveling to buy cars at auctions, like purchase fees, shipping, and travel expenses, is what allows them to offer this. They'd rather share that money they save with you rather than outside vendors. They encourage you to shop around, but look, if Wayscar Ford can pay the same or more as competitors and then share half their profit with you once they resell your car, why would you sell your car anywhere else? They've already shared over $800,000 with their customers, and it's only at Wayscar Ford. WayscarFord.com. Check them out today, WayscarFord.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health. It's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
If you've been considering upgrading your siding, now is the perfect time. Hi, I'm Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. In the Pacific Northwest, moisture is the enemy. Old failing siding leads to hidden water damage, rot, and mold. State Roofing and Exteriors is a James Hardy preferred contractor with over 55 years of siding expertise. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your siding inspection today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Construction. It was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, pcfgroup.com.
Toyota of Kirkland's service department has you covered as the summer winds down and the fall approaches. At Toyota of Kirkland, be confident in your brakes with a complimentary brake inspection. Get winter ready with a free battery health check, wiper blade installation, and multi-point inspection. Thinking of trading in? Get a complimentary vehicle appraisal. Stay ahead with the maintenance service plan at $374 plus tax. And yes, they match coupons from other local Toyota dealers. Visit toyotaofkirkland.com to schedule your service today. Drive safe, drive smart with Toyota of Kirkland.
O'Brien. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look at an exciting week 4 in the NFL, which I think ended with, I know some people were frustrated with the tie. That game was really fun.
It was an entertaining
Shockingly entertaining. I thought for sure that Dallas's offense has actually been really good this year, but they're short CeeDee Lamb, and the defense hasn't been great, and I thought the Packers were going to be rolling.
I thought the Packers were going to botch the ending.
Packers' last 2 wins are a little suspect.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say wins.
sus.
The tie and a loss, a little sus. A little sus from the Packers. Let's take a listen to a bit of what Jerry Jones had to say. This was on NBC's pregame.
I got to say, Jerry, look, he's coming out on the field right now. What does it feel like to see him in the green and gold, but here in AT&T Stadium?
Well, of course, I've seen that trot and seen him run out like that for 4 straight years. So I've seen it. The green and gold is a little problem for me looking at it. But I'll have to think about the kinds of consideration that we got on the trade. That's the way I've always done it. It might not be that Christmas that the bicycle got under the tree.
Okay,
but thinking ahead, you could have a motorcycle under that thing.
Or you could have Micah Parsons.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I love Jerry's analogies. They never make sense. I don't know where they come from. They kind of hit you out of left field. Like he'll be saying a normal answer, and then he'll be like, it's kind of like when you have a bicycle under the tree, you never know if it could be a motorcycle.
Jerry.
What?
Why hope for a motorcycle under the tree when you had a motorcycle under the tree? One top of the line, best in show, like you had it.
Jerry Jones has been contending that Micah Parsons isn't good against the run and that he didn't want to sink that much money into it and that he felt like it got personal. I think that there was I say I think because it's something we all assume, but it seems quite obvious that there's a personal betrayal aspect that Jones feels in the fact that that so much of this went public and that Micah wanted his agent involved through so much of it when Jerry has previously done deals that are kind of like one-on-one with the player. I don't know. This is what he said afterwards.
It's very simple. Dak was indispensable in my mind. And so, yes. And Micah wasn't.
Dak played a great game last night.
He did.
For sure.
That's what I wonder what this Cowboys team would look like if they would have hung on to Micah Parsons, because that offense is pretty good.
The thing, though, Jerry, is who is going to be the more indispensable over the next decade? Dak Prescott, who is in his 30s already, or Micah Parsons, who just turned 26? Like, the thing with Jerry is that he looks at these trades they're just not going to be anything competitive this season.
It's okay that a rookie quarterback is struggling. The seasons like the one C.J. Stroud had as a rookie, or a couple of rookie quarterbacks, it's really kind of an anomaly though, are not common. What you mostly see are quarterbacks who flash, Jaden Daniels, who flash a lot of arm talent and have a lot of potential, but make a lot of mistakes because for the first time ever, they're facing NFL talent and NFL defenses, and everything is faster and bigger and stronger and happens more quickly. So it's hard for me to look at Cam Ward and go,
I know here it would be a lot to keep that up in the fall and winter time. I think turf is not going anywhere.
No.
And you're just going to have to deal with it, but it stinks that a talented player like Malik Neighbors sees his season end on kind of a non-contact play like that.
I know. Jags head coach Liam Cohen and 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh had to be separated after Jacksonville's win over San Francisco. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan was asked about the dust-up after the game and said this.
Liam and Saleh were exchanging words. I mean, are you surprised that, I assume over sign stealing, are you surprised that Cohen maybe wasn't thrilled about that?
No, try to clear it up, but I didn't see what happened, so I'm not sure. Don't think you should be that sensitive about it, but it is what it is. Not too worried about it.
So this incident came, it was a couple days ago, but Saleh started talking about the Jags sign stealing system under Cohen. Though he did say it's legal. He didn't say, oh, they're cheating. He said they have, this is the quote, he said, Liam and his staff, a couple guys coming from Minnesota, they've got legally a really advanced sign stealing type system where they always find a way to put themselves in advantageous situations. They do a great job with it.
It's one of those things where it's not illegal now, but I think because Saleh bringing it up in the week ahead of this game, I think he did that so that the NFL can then make it illegal going forward. And Liam Cohen's like, hey, man, like, this is how the game is played. Like, I don't know why you've got such an issue with it. I'd say credit to the Jags for being able to win. I mean, that was a huge win, especially in the NFC West, where now the Seahawks are tied for first.
It's an entertaining game.
Yeah. So, I love the drama. I'm here for it. Absolutely. But Liam Cohen, like, I don't think you're winning a fight against Robert Saleh. Have you seen Robert Saleh?
Right.
That guy is built. That guy is put together.
Last one here. We have a halftime performer for the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny has been named the halftime performer for Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara.
I love seeing all the old NFL beat writers be like, who? It's like, this performance is not advertised to you, my man.
And
Albert
also, you gotta be
Yeah.
okay with that. Like,
Right.
when they're like, and again, maybe I'll offend someone with this, but there are certain bands where I'm like, I have no idea any of these songs. But
Yeah.
okay, I'm sure it'll be a good time, or I just
Right.
won't watch. I'll go get snacks. That's fine.
He's one of the most popular musical artists in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
his
think it'll be
performance is not
fine.
about you, 65-year-old man.
It'll be fine. I think
Yeah.
Super Bowl halftime shows were always really, really fun. I'm looking forward to this
Yeah.
one. And I can't remember a really, really bad one. I know they've had them, but
Black Eyed Peas.
that was really bad.
Really bad.
We had Bruno Mars for 48 and
Yeah.
Katy Perry for 49, where Left Shark was born.
Can't forget that.
Yeah, I try to
Although-
forget everything else for that
Yeah.
Super Bowl, but the halftime show stays alive. The Seahawks are back home this weekend with their 50th season celebration game, and today's the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch them take the field on October 5th. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, text the word app to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. The 3 biggest surprises from the NFL's first month. That's coming up next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Seattle Sports has your chance to win 4 tickets to the Seahawks game Sunday, October 5th. Head to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab in the bottom right corner, and enter to win. You can enter once per day, so the more times you enter through the Seattle Sports app, the better your odds. Do it every day, September 23rd through September 29th. Details and rules at seattlesports.com/win. From the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. Where you hear Cal's quest for the MVP.
Goodbye, baseball, number 50 for Cal Raleigh.
Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot.
With football season comes colder weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here with Keith Dashafeet from locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. So Keith, what's your next big play?
Well, Steve, right now get 40% off qualifying installs or no payments and no interest for 12 months on approved credit.
Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Tired of unwanted clutter taking over your space? Well, say goodbye to it all with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal service. Tune into Cairo News Radio, 97.3 FM or KTTH AM 770 for Home Matters, featuring Happy Hauler this Saturday at 2 p.m. Discover how Happy Hauler can help you declutter and reclaim your home, all while donating as much as possible to those in need. So make yourself, your family, and your community happy. Go to happyhauler.com. Hauling with a heart.
Imagine homes so well designed and so luxurious, they'll be setting the standard for decades. You're imagining a Mainview home. Now imagine a Mainview home on sale, saving $50,000 to $120,000.
Isn't that what Brett and Amy bought?
Yeah, it's a Mainview, and they saved a bundle.
What are you doing?
Looking at the Mainview website. It's now or never.
What's better than a Mainview home? A Mainview home on sale. Mainview communities across the Puget Sound.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
All right, well, we're only 4 games into the NFL season, but we are through a month, and we have our 3 biggest surprises from the NFL's first month. You can join this conversation, and obviously the next one we're about to have. I think you guys will like that one. On the on the text line, 866-979-3776. 3 surprises from the NFL's first month. I have 2 non-Seahawks ones here, but Curtis, we figured we'd start in Seattle, and this is kind of gaining steam following last week's game against the Cardinals, as opposed to after week 1, but it's certainly speeding up, and that would be Sam Darnold's strong start.
Yeah, he has been everything the Seahawks could hoped he would be and more, and has added a level of explosiveness to the Seahawks offense that has existed in prior iterations of it, which I think was also a big concern. You go from Geno, who definitely could throw the deep ball really well, and Russ, who also is known for his ability to throw the deep ball. But Sam Darnold has allowed for this offense to continue to build off of what they've done over the last couple of years in the passing game. And he's doing it with, let's be honest, a wide receiver group that's not nearly the caliber of what it's been in years past. I know JSN is becoming an elite receiver in the NFL. But Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf were as established as you'll ever be in the league. 2 supremely talented individuals. They're not here anymore. So what Darnold has been able to do with this Seahawks offense, pretty spectacular over the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think that you haven't seen the version of Sam Darnold you were afraid that you would. Someone earlier texted and said, well, he hasn't really been tested with a legit pass rush, and I don't know how often he will, since Seattle's schedule this year is pretty soft. And I thought, well, that's a fair point, particularly when you look at the offenses they're going to face. But the Cardinals' defense is pretty good. And the Steelers' defense, while not quite as good as we're used to seeing, is still 3rd or 4th in sacks. So he has at least been tested in terms of facing some pressure and has performed well. So you can't knock him for not being in a game like he was in the last 2 weeks of last year going against the Lions and the Rams. Rams defense just sweltering. Obviously, they'll get a test against the Rams, and we'll see what it looks like. But you can only win the games you play.
For sure.
And I've been very impressed with the performances he's had. And heck, even week 1, like I didn't leave that game, shockingly didn't leave that game talking a lot about Sam Darnold, despite him being the biggest name that they acquired, but also didn't leave that game blaming him for what was technically a fumble at the end.
Right. It was just Nick Bosa being Nick Bosa.
Plowing into Abe Lucas and just a freak. And the only kind of blame that I had is, man, there's a lot of force that you're putting on whatever pass you're about to unleash. So maybe like the force of pulling the ball back contributed a tiny bit. I don't know. I've stared at that play for many, many times over trying to make sense of it. But I don't feel that he's cost them moments this year.
No, definitely not. He has been a net positive with very little negative. The only negative that people point to was the 2 interceptions against the Steelers, and that was in a game that they won, and a game in which he played much better in the second half than he did in the first half.
Next up, my second biggest surprise of the NFL's first month, the Ravens being 1-3.
Our Ravens
being 1-3, not only being 1-3. When I say the Ravens defense has been struggling, I mean they rank 27th against the run. They're giving up 141 rushing yards per game. They've also allowed the most points per game with 33. We thought Dallas's defense defense would be bad. They are giving up more points per game than Dallas's defense.
A question that I was kind of chewing on today is like, who misses who more right now? Baltimore with Mike McDonald or Minnesota with Sam Darnold? And I'm thinking it's maybe Baltimore with Mike McDonald.
I think it might be.
I see a lot of Ravens fans on social media that anytime the Seahawks come away with a win and their defense is looking good, which has been pretty much every week this season, a lot of people are like, man, we should have kept McDonald and let John Harbaugh go. And it's like, how do you let John Harbaugh go, thoh? He's a Super Bowl winner.
There's no path for McDonald to immediately take
John
over.
Harbaugh is one of those coaches that probably will say when he retires. Like, he gets to have that opportunity because the Ravens are always in it. They're always on the cusp of making it to the Super Bowl. He has a Super Bowl title in his career. But McDonald has just turned the Seahawks defense into something really good. Conversely, the Ravens defense without him, they're in a world of hurt right now.
We'll give this credit to the Ravens. Their first 4 opponents, Bills, Browns, Lions, Chiefs.
Not bad.
That's tough.
3 of those 4 were probably 3 of the 4 best teams in football last year.
Their next 4, Texans, Rams, Bears, Dolphins. I think you can add 3 wins there.
Texans, they should win that game. Yeah. Rams, toss-up. Bears, they should win. Dolphins, they should win.
I think that they even out a little bit here.
So they're 4-4 maybe.
And then they're taking on the Vikings, and then the Browns, and then the Jets, and then the Bengals. Yeah. They're going to have some opportunities here. They did have a very tough first month in terms of just opponents that you're facing. I mean, Bills, Lions, Chiefs, those are contenders. Those are teams that in win now mode. Those are teams that put up big numbers. So not surprised. Okay, last one. The Colts being good. That's my third and final big surprise coming out of the first month of the season. The Colts being good.
We thought that maybe their start was going to be sort of a mirage, and they got their first test on Sunday. First big-time test on Sunday against the Rams. But, look, they were in that game until the very end. If A.D. Mitchell doesn't pull off one of the most boneheaded plays of the season and actually crosses the goal line with the ball.
Important to getting a touchdown.
Yeah, you're looking at least a tie ball game, 27-27 at that point. But, yeah, I think the Colts in a wide-open AFC South have a very good opportunity at winning the division. We all thought maybe the Texans would run away with it. That hasn't been the case. They're off to, the 1-3 start. I think the Jags are 3-1 right now. Yeah, I think of the 4 teams in the South, the Colts have been consistently the best of all 4.
Fill in the blank. the most important player for the Mariners postseason is who? That's next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The legendary Al Michaels, exclusively with Brock and Salk.
Having him on now for a second time, truly amazing.
1995 in the Kingdom, the Yankees were in town. An 18-year-old kid had just been called up, and I interviewed him before the game, and his name was Alex Rodriguez. The memory that, of course, stands out for me in the Kingdom was doing the Bo Jackson run in 1987 when he ran up the tunnel and stopped in Tacoma.
Get the full conversation on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and auto pay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now the company's changed, or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-466-3300. That's 206-466-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow Stolen Voices of Dole Valley now, so you don't miss an episode.
Are you in pain? This is Dave Wyman, and if you're experiencing pain in your shoulder, elbow, wrist, hip, or knee, do what my friend and co-host Bob Stelton did and go see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
It's been a huge game changer. After 13 years of jiu-jitsu, I had a lot of issues with my hip. It was bad, so I'd heard a ton of patients raving about the results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner, so I had to check it out. Dr. Wagner is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience performing more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. Now, people with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back to doing what they enjoy doing without pain and without surgery.
Whether it's a hip like Bob had, a shoulder, a knee, a wrist, an ankle, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
A look around the NFC West. Is Brock Purdy in danger of missing Thursday Night Football against the Rams? Purdy's been dealing with turf toe, even missed a couple games because of it. He wasn't sore during the 49ers loss to the Jags, but did experience new soreness in the toe on Monday. Head coach Kyle Shanahan told reporters the team is still evaluating the severity of any setback.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. It's a Reaction Monday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Mariners playoffs start Saturday.
I like the Saturday start.
I do too. A nice relaxing week of
Sunday,
watching these wild card games.
But yeah, I like the Saturday start.
Now, the most important player for the Mariners postseason is who? 866-979-3776. Text in your answers. I know that there's more than one player that is incredibly important for this run, but I think the goal is to look at who suddenly, is holding a little bit of a burden heading into a series against either the Tigers or the Guardians. The most important player for the Mariners postseason is who? Someone texted back, Leo.
Leo Rivas.
No.
Oh.
Julio.
Oh, Julio. Okay.
It was funny. I laughed. They said, is who? Leo.
Julio.
No, they're not the only person. I've actually already had a couple of people texting in Julio.
I mean, he's been the most important player on this team in the season's second half for sure. And it was Jim Bowden who told us back in, June?
Credit to him.
Yeah, he called it. He was like, Cal's the guy in the first half. It'll be Julio in the second half. No need to sweat. No need to worry. And we were like, I don't know, Jim. Like, Julio's been...
Jim, what do you know about
this?
this?
He's been really struggling. Like, you're not...
Are you sure?
You're not a former GM
what
or anything.
What do you know about baseball?
You're not a former executive of the year in baseball,
And then
right?
what he said happened.
Yeah, and then sure enough, it happened. Weird how that kind of came about. I think Julio can absolutely be, and probably needs to be the most important player on this Mariners team coming up in this postseason run. And that was one thing I think about his first playoff trip back in 2022. And he did not have the impact, I think, that a lot of people had anticipated from him because he had that really phenomenal regular season that year, one Rookie of the Year. Now, he did have a pretty good division series against Houston, had 3 doubles and a triple in those 3 games, but went 1 for 7 against Toronto. In total, hit .217 across 5 games in the 2022 postseason. They're going to need, I think, a little bit more production out of him in order to make it all the way to the World Series. Mm-hmm. I think outside of maybe the regular guys, the Cals, the Julios, to me, one guy I'm looking at in this postseason who will have, I think, an increased importance, especially over what his role was in the regular season. That was kind of your number 5 starter when he was healthy, and that's Bryce Miller.
Oh. That was not where I thought you'd go.
I don't think Bryce Miller is going to get many opportunities to start in the postseason. Maybe in a 7-game series, you could potentially use him as a starter there, but he's going to be playing, I think he'll be playing a big role in order to get the game from the starting pitchers to the bullpen. And he was asked about it yesterday, if that is sort of the role that the Mariners have charted out for him. He said, we haven't really talked about it yet.
Not really. Just kind of, be ready to go early in the series, and if it's out of the bullpen, be ready to go. I've pitched out of the bullpen, most of my college career, so I don't think I'll have any issue, getting ready and being able to do that. So, but no, I'll be ready, however they want me to. Just, getting the opportunity to pitch in the postseason will be fun, and just to go out and help us win, that's all I can ask for.
I love the attitude of Bryce being like, look, we're going to be in the postseason, and I want to pitch in the postseason any way possible, and if it means coming out of the bullpen, so be it. And I think his stuff just translates really well to the bullpen, especially that fastball, especially how he is able to get so much movement on it. I get that his numbers haven't been as sterling as what they were a year ago, but to me, I think he can be a big, big help to what this Mariners team wants to do, and especially if they find themselves in a situation where somebody gets in trouble early.
You'd rather have him than a middle reliever.
Right. I would much rather go to him where he can eat 2-3 innings than go to
Vargas eating 2-3 innings.
Yeah, Bizzardo, and they're not available the next day.
Happen. Yeah. No. Okay, so my cheat answer is
what's your cheat answer?
That night starter.
There you go.
My real answer is, if I have to actually dissect it more, is Brian Wu. I wouldn't need the conversation that we had earlier with Jason Churchill to think this, but that conversation with Jason just kind of reiterates it in a much more articulate way, which is Brian is the only person who had a better season than he did last year. And that was the case throughout. It was not a good first half and a bad second. It was not a good second half and a bad first. He was your most consistent starter in an all-star season that he earned. Not like you got to have someone, you say Kikuchi, but like
Daniel Vogelback.
Right, an all-star season that he earned. He has been spectacular. You want to talk about eating up innings? That's what he was doing for this team. And I have some nerves about how this pec strain, this pec injury is going to affect him in the postseason. We've talked about the rust setting in potentially with a bye, and I agree with, I think, Gary Hill, who was on with us last week for sure. I couldn't remember if it was Gary that said this, but I'm pretty sure it was Gary who said the benefit you get from giving Wu rest outweighs whatever risk you take in just not playing, which I agree with. But it's so hard for me not to come back to Brian Wu and just what an excellent start from him can potentially do for you. Think of that Friday game in Houston.
Oh,
he was dealing.
Yeah, it only allowed, I think, one hit up until that point. One hit through 5 innings, and it looked like, oh my gosh, he's gonna.
What was it? 67 pitches. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna throw a complete game shutout here. But it's interesting. I love that you brought up Brian Wu, and I think we cannot have enough conversations about like what his health will mean to this rotation in the coming days. And when we get more clarification on when he'll be available, I'm hoping for game 1. That's kind of my hope. It sounded, and Dipoto talked about it, yesterday when he was speaking with the media, sounding optimistic that he'll be available in the division series.
I don't know on the latter end, whether he will face hitters or not. I presume he will. But, yesterday the highlight of my day was walking in the training room, and he had a smile and said I felt great. So that's good for me. And the trainers weren't particularly concerned. So good deal of optimism that he is part of that rotation to start the ALDS. And he's a huge part of what we do. So pretty important that he's there. But, either way, doing the same thing that we've done for the last month or so, which is just reach down and pick the other guy up. And I think Brian will be there when we need him.
The one wrinkle about Wu's return to this rotation, Stacy, is that not only will you need him to be what he was pre-pec injury, but you're also going to need him to take on an extra workload. Mm-hmm. You're going to need him to start probably on 3 days rest.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah, on short rest, have him start game 1, potentially either game 4 or game 5 if it gets to that. And that's a lot to ask of somebody who is coming off an injury, and this being his first action out of that. And then also, that's a lot to ask of a guy who, in the 2 years prior to this season, what have we known about Brian Wu is that he's a guy that who gets banged up. He's a guy that has spent quite a few days on the injured list in his career prior to the 2025 season. I think if the Mariners are going to go as far as Brian Wu takes them on the mound, especially because he is your most consistent, most dominant starting pitcher this year. And, I mean, you can only – I mean, his importance to what the Mariners want to do this postseason is maybe equal to what Cal is offensively.
Yeah. Some listener answers. A popular one, Playoff Randy. And not only is Playoff Randy a popular one, but specifically, quote, Playoff Randy, end quote, from multiple people. Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
God, yeah.
And just leaning into that veteran experience, like with Naylor, obviously the guys that were on this roster in 22, but Randy Rosarena, there's an experience here that even if it may not be as extensive as some of the other teams that are going to be in the playoffs this year, it's still better than no one has any idea what this is like.
You know what Randy's postseason numbers are? Just how ridiculous they are.
They're absurd. Obscene, I would say. Offensive.
They are. They're Aaron Judge-like. Basically Aaron Judge in the postseason. 336 batting average, over 128 plate appearances, a 690 slug, an 1104 OPS, 11 home runs in 128 plate appearances. Yeah, Randy is a monster in the playoffs.
Important to note that, too, because it's not like he's had one crazy wild card series.
No,
that guy just meets the moment.
It's been sustained over many years in the playoffs.
Speaking of, certainly this is outside of Seattle's kind of bracket right now, but certainly a narrative that Aaron Judge for the Yankees is going to be trying to push back on is that he suddenly becomes not Aaron Judge in the playoffs and is going to be looking to fight that.
Well, yeah, Aaron Judge in the playoffs, I believe his career OPS
I think he's
is
like his average is like 206, 208.
And his OPS is like 700.
I mean, it's Aaron Judge. It's Aaron Judge.
768 is his OPS. 205 is his batting average, yeah.
J.P. Crawford, an answer.
Do we want to have that JP conversation? Because I'm willing to go there.
Why don't you go? I don't know that I'm willing to go there. Well, what is the JP conversation?
The JP conversation is defensively. Is that somebody you want playing shortstop?
I hear you.
In the 8th and 9th inning.
I hear you.
Of a winner-take-all game.
I hear you. I raise you. JP's actually been great in high leverage moments.
Yes.
Maybe his best year yet.
There was there's a graphic going around of who has the highest OPS in high leverage moments league-wide. And there's 3 Mariners like within the top 10. It's Jorge Polanco, who's number 1 of anybody in baseball. I think Cal is like 6th or 7th, and then JP is, I think, 10th. So, yes, that is – I would want him up in those situations. Defensively, though –
I mean, it's just
you don't really have any other option.
Age.
Right,
yeah.
You don't have any other option at short.
That's just what it is for you this year. And look, you look around the playoffs, and you are going to find a liability, some kind of like maybe an aging or a defensive liability on every single roster, because every single roster is going to have guys where it's like, this guy was physically in his prime maybe 2 years ago, but now this is just where the team is, and they're really competitive now, and it's just you got to like duct tape it together and keep it moving. And we've still seen some of those gems from JP. Obviously, he doesn't have the glove he did. Everyone sees that. I would assume JP sees that.
Yeah.
However, I will at least give him credit that he has had more than a few moments this season where you desperately need movement, and he'll give you an RBI single, or he'll give you a grand slam against the Rangers. Like he's had quite a few clutch moments this year at the plate. I think
grand slams.
I mean, that's where you look back at your starters, right? Now we're back to my point, which is JP's not going to have a million web gems if your starters are dealing.
How about the bullpen?
Like who's important from that?
I'm talking about your highest leverage guys. What's your confidence level in Brash and Munoz right now?
Lower than it was.
I think so too, yeah.
But I can't tell what to make of. So Munoz last outing, walk, RBI double. Or 2 RBI double, excuse me. Yeah, it's not leaving you feeling a lot of confidence. How much do you read into the final few outings from him?
I wish that, his outing against the Dodgers had gone a lot better.
I don't read anything from that series.
Prior to that, he had been fine. Like, he had not been, a disaster by any stretch. In fact, he hasn't had really any stretch this season where it's been of grave concern. He did have the 3 straight appearances in August where he allowed a run, but the most runs he's allowed in any appearance this season is 3, which was all the way back on May 30th. I wish he would have some cleaner outings. The walks have been up here in the month of September, but I would say I'm more confident right now in Munoz at the end of the game than Brash at the moment. I think you have a really good thing in both those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wonder if both of them are ready to be used as much as they're going to get used. I'm also kind of wondering if they're ready to be used in situations where they're maybe not used to being used.
Like put Munoz out in the 8th or a high leverage moment before.
Have him pitch 2 innings.
Yeah.
I know he had a lot of multi-inning games last year.
I see what you're saying, though. Runner on, it's Jose Ramirez up. If you're
6th
facing the Guardians, do you put Munoz out? In the 6th, no way.
That's the most important.
He's going to be up again,
That's
though.
the highest leverage at bat in that
6th?
situation. You need your best pitcher in the biggest moment in the 6th inning. Absolutely, you got to consider that. It's playoff baseball, Stacy.
God, yeah, inning by inning, not even day by day.
That's the thing. I don't know. Like 2022 was a nice little teaser. Are we ready to live and die?
I'm not.
With each,
with
each inning.
Unfortunately, like clinical anxiety, and I cannot
get your blood pressure medication.
I
ready.
can't deal with the stress that I'm going to feel.
I
from
get
this
stressed
series.
out watching playoff baseball when the Mariners aren't.
I'm
part of it.
Keeping score for both AL wildcard series. Like, I have so many nerves. The only way to calm me down is going to be keeping score and just gleefully smiling whenever there's an error or something where I can just hang on to it. A couple more suggestions here. Robles for his defense, speed on the bags, ability to keep everyone laughing. Just Robles for vibes, speed, physicality.
Hey, Robles has a World Series ring.
Yeah.
So he's been in these spots.
Okay, so playoff Randy, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Jorge Polanco, all mentioned. I'm trying to find, someone had a surprising one I'm trying to find here. Back half of the bullpen, Munoz, Brash. God, where'd it go?
Somebody had Canzone.
That's who I was looking for. They said, I'm going to say a surprising one, but Canzone.
300 hitter with power. I'll take that. I don't think the weight of the Mariners' playoff run is on the shoulders of Dom Canzone. I think whatever you get from him is going to be a nice addition to whatever is going on with the rest of your lineup.
I'm really, really excited. And you know what else I'm really excited for? That we get to watch stress-free baseball for a couple days beforehand.
It's going to be great.
Just absolutely packed. I mean, it starts at 10 a.m.
Yeah. Well, we'll have it on the studio monitor tomorrow. It'll be on all day.
All right. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Stacy. There's a number that stands out to you when it comes to the Seahawks run game. Tell us what we should know.
Now, here's the good news. The Seahawks are definitely putting their money where their mouth is in terms of trying to establish the run and make that core to their identity. They're top 4 when it comes to just like carries per game, rushing attempts per game. The problem is that they're 3.6 yards per carry, ranked 28th. I was struck by what Brady Henderson said in his interview with us earlier in the show. You can go back and listen to the Bump and Stacy podcast to check it out. But he said, now the Seahawks have had some explosive runs. Okay, there's some stuff there that you really love. But they have had a league-high 33 carries that were either for no gain or for a loss. So I see it not as like a huge knock on the season or a bad thing. This is the area where if you were to have like your quarterly review in school and they're like needs improvement, but the year's still going and you can do this, I would say the run game.
Shows a lot of effort.
Needs improvement. That's where the Mariners are with the run. And right now it's okay because they are 3-1 and the offense otherwise looks really solid. You've had other concerns that have already been addressed. For instance, coming out of week 1, we were like, who's going to step up besides JSN? And you've had a much more democratic effort in the past game over the subsequent 3 weeks. So a lot of good, but maybe kind of a needs improvement category from this team.
Second down. Stacy, your Huskies lost to number 1 Ohio State on Saturday, but that was not the worst thing about that game. Tell us 2 things that are still driving you crazy here on Monday.
Number one of the worst roughing the passer calls I've ever seen. This was on 2nd and 19, and Curtis, here's what really grinds my gears when it comes to opposing fans when you are a team that's been flagged and you're complaining about it and they're the team that benefits. You'll get a lot of, what does it matter? It wouldn't have made a difference. Sure. In the long run, maybe it wouldn't have. But it's about wanting these games to be officiated as close to fair as you can with acknowledgement of human error. This was not a good call. It was an objectively bad call. Brock Heward tweeted out maybe the worst roughing the passer call he's seen in college football this year, and that guy watches a lot of college football. So it would not maybe necessarily have swung the game in favor of the Huskies, but it doesn't matter. It should still be called the right way, and that was a horrible call. He didn't even get knocked over. What do you mean roughing the passer? Bumping into something. Like, you have to have some awareness there that, like, maybe you're interpreting it quite literally, letter of the law. Oh, he doesn't have the ball anymore, whatever. But no, that was a horrible call. The second one is kind of just bringing the house on 3rd and 11. Obviously, you can't hate on the idea of blitzing with 3rd and long. That's kind of the point of trying to blitz. It's forcing them into a passing situation and then trying to get to the passer. But if you're sending that many guys, A, you got to get home, and B, at the very least, you need to make sure that at least one defensive back is glued to Jeremiah Smith, and that did not happen on this one. Ohio State called up a perfect play to counteract that. It worked. 18-yard touchdown to Smith. Also, I'm going to flip the script. Okay. Rather than 2 more football questions for 4 Down territory, we're getting to 2 baseball questions for Curtis Rogers.
Here we go.
So here we go. Curtis.
Yes.
Can you please make a case for the Red Sox to beat the Yankees? Because I'm a bit worried about the second hottest team in baseball, the Yankees, also being the one that hits more home runs than anyone else. I want to get them out.
Fear not, Stacy. For the Red Sox this year have had a lot of success against the Yankees. In fact, they're 9-4 head-to-head against each other. The Red Sox have swept the Yankees in Fenway and took 3 of 4 from New York at Yankee Stadium. That was the most recent series they played against each other. That was back in August. Game 1 starter Garrett Crochet, who is likely going to be the American League, or probably American League Cy Young runner-up behind Tarik Skubal.
I was going to say, I think Skubal might.
If not, he wins it. So you've got the second best pitcher in the American League going for your team against the Yankees. He has a lot of success against them. Has not lost to New York this season in 4 starts. Has struck out Aaron Judge 11 times in 15 plate appearances total. You've got a lot of good things going for the Red Sox in this series against the Yankees. Also, the Yankees will not be starting Ben Rice behind the plate tomorrow. He has been a really good bat for them. Austin Wells will get the start instead. So that is an opportunity for the Red Sox to take advantage of New York not having one of their better bats in the lineup. So that is the case for the Red Sox. Got a good thing going with their starting pitching tomorrow. Getting out to a 1-0 series lead in the wild card round is going to be huge for them.
Next question. The Tigers are favored this week over Cleveland despite being a 6 seed, but tell us how the Guardians can absolutely get this one done and upset Detroit.
Well, it's been the reason for Cleveland's run here in September, and that is their starting pitching. From September 5th to now, Cleveland starting pitchers have allowed more than 2 earned runs only 3 times in that stretch. In fact, they went 19 straight games at one point not allowing more than 2 earned runs, which was one shy of the Major League record set. I think it was like 100-something years ago by the White Sox. It was a ridiculous run that they went on, and it's continued. Gavin Williams is going to be their Game 1 starter against Detroit tomorrow. That's going to be the early game, the 10 a.m. game. In his last 2 starts, they have both come against the Detroit Tigers on September 17th and September 23rd. He has struck out 21 Tigers in just 11 innings pitched, 7 hits, just 2 runs allowed. Over those 2 starts, he has dominated Tigers hitters over those last 2 starts. So that is something that is working very much in the favor of Cleveland heading into this wild card series. And it's going to be at home. And Progressive Field is one of the great home field environments in October. Josh Naylor can tell you all about it. And subplot that could happen if Cleveland advances to the ALDS against the Mariners. Naylor on Naylor.
Oh,
Josh
yeah.
against his brother, Bo.
Yeah.
Who does
Who do you root
do
for?
mom and dad Naylor root for?
Maybe
do
they
they wear
split
one
it
of those jerseys that's
Half and
like,
half.
yeah.
All right, let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
A Monday Night Football doubleheader. The winless Jets and winless Dolphins are on ESPN at 4:15 p.m. And guess what, Curtis? One of these teams will win.
Unless they tie.
And
Yeah.
the Bengals face the Broncos at ABC on ABC at 5:15. Someone texted earlier. We were talking about who's the most important player for the Mariners in the playoffs. And someone said, God, now I'm even more nervous. So what I thought we would do coming up next, before we get to what I need to know, is have a heavy dose of not like pointless optimism, but kind of like a hyping up of where both of these Seattle teams are right now, because the outlook is pretty good for Seattle sports. That's coming up next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
Start having fun. Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you use the carpool or toll lanes along SR 167 without a Good-to-Go account, you'll soon receive a bill in the mail. That is a change. A Good-to-Go pass saves $2 on every toll. That is not a change. Learn more at goodtogo167.com.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I started Davis Law Group in 1994 to fight for the underdog. And as our team has grown, we've stayed true to that mission. Today, Davis Law Group is known for providing excellent service and even better results. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com to get your free book on car accident law.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Home of your American League West Division champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. We've been fortunate to work with over 4,000 local people and help them hit some pretty amazing weight loss goals. I'm joined by two of them right now, Mike Salk and Ryan Rowland-Smith. Mike, you were able to lose about a pound per day for over a month, 35 pounds in total.
Well, as much as I'd love to take all the credit, really, I was just following the plan. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic made it super easy, and there really was no part I struggled with. I was eating delicious, fresh food, all while losing weight. The accountability from your team was great. It just helped me keep the focus. I felt catered to the entire way, and I think Ryan really had a similar experience.
No doubt about it. I just finished up the program, and I can't believe how well it worked. I wish I would have started sooner. Talk about motivation. So, thanks for the recommendation.
No surgery, no exercise, no packaged meals, no drugs or injections. Just delicious food and a plan that works. Schedule a free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossklinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us.
We get notifications every time we get a review. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? Sometimes I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback.
Big part of sales is the relationship aspect. People want to do business with someone they can trust, who's a real person. They don't feel like you're just going after their money. And when you take the time to get to know them, get to know their needs, not be a car salesman, but be a consultant, then they feel more comfortable with you, and just the experience is better on both sides.
It's not about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, helping people make the right choice. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Seahawks are back home this weekend with their 50th season celebration game. Today's the last day you can enter to win 4 tickets to watch them take the field on October 5th against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and then click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, just text the word app to 866-979-3776 and we'll send you a link to download. Again, 866-979-3776. Earlier we were talking about, hey, here's the most important player for the Mariners in the ALDS and trying to have some fun kind of filling in the blank. And we were both talking about why we were nervous about certain things, which is just kind of naturally what you start to do. You start thinking like, oh my God, this is massive. This is so high stakes. This is a new feeling. And someone texted in and said, oh God, now I'm even more nervous, which I completely understand. And frankly, as each day goes by, I also get more nervous. But I thought we would counterbalance it just to be able to have 10 minutes here, Curtis, where we talk about what's really looking great for the Mariners. And for that matter, for the Seahawks, though, let's start and focus on the Mariners. And then at the end, we'll talk a bit about the Seahawks. We're only 4 weeks into the season, but there's a lot to like about the Mariners. Mm-hmm. I go back to that quote from Eno Saris, who said, over the last 4 years, teams that have out-homered opponents have gone like 95-20. In the postseason. Now, in that, he was talking about the Yankees, who lead the league in home runs, lead the league in runs, look absolutely dominant, blah, blah, blah. However, the Mariners don't have as many home runs as the Yankees. They're still third in home runs. The Mariners have been raking this year. They have so much more power than they did in 2022. They've got a lot more power than a lot of other teams in the playoffs. Guardians, more power. Blue Jays, more power. Blue Jays are a 1 seed. You have more power than that team. Red Sox, more power. I mean, it's something that if I'm going to make the case for the Yankees and say, oh, they've got this, look, you can say the same thing about the Mariners. They don't have, a guy putting up Barry Bonds-esque numbers, but they do have a catcher with 60 bombs.
That's
they do have
Barry
Gino with 40.
Bonds-esque.
Yeah, they do have Gino with 49. They do have Polanco, who's been really clutch, and they got a lot of guys who know how to get on base. So this is one of the better offenses I've seen in a while.
It is kind of, I always, you hear the word imposter syndrome get thrown around all the time. And when a team has just 2 postseason appearances over the course of a quarter century, you do kind of feel like, still kind of happy to be here. But, no, this Mariner team has earned this. They have shown that they are good enough to win a division, good enough to get a bye into the division series. This is a Mariner team that belongs. It's no longer just happy to be here. And that is a good thing. That means that things are progressing to a point where this can be the expectation now moving forward. It gets said a lot in sports, but pressure is a privilege. It is absolutely something that we should be wrapping our arms around and just latching on for dear life over the next however long this playoff run lasts, essentially the month of October. I think it stretches into the first week of November here, but you're already guaranteed a spot in the division series. You don't have to lift a finger. You're already there. And to me, I just kind of look at what this Mariners team has done this season, and it's they belong. They absolutely belong among this group of postseason teams. It's not just them backing in the way the Reds did in the National League, where you just had to hope for the Mets to have a historic collapse in order to get in. No, you're not that team anymore.
Yeah.
I think Fangraphs still has the Mariners as the highest odds to win the World Series.
And part of that is their road that they would take to get there. You don't have to play the Brewers. You don't have to play the Phillies. You don't have to play the Dodgers. That's all really important. However, it's also because of what they've put out there. I feel like we get so sidetracked looking at teams that have historically been pretty dominant that you don't, to your point, give yourself enough credit. If I stripped away the Mariners logo and told you, hey, there's a team that after 162 games, blind resume. If I was okay, after 162 games, they're third in home runs. You already know it's them, but they're third in home runs. They're third in stolen bases. They're seventh or top 10 in OPS, and only 9 more teams throw more strikeouts than they do. Also, post All-Star break, they've had one of the best ERAs. You'd be like, wow, that's pretty complete. That's
I like that.
You mean a team that can hit home runs and throw strikes? That sounds like 2 things that are hugely important for the postseason. If you were to build a postseason roster, 2 things that you would want are home runs or a lot of slugging, and two great pitchers who throw a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things. I know I'm counting 2 pitchers as one, but those are the 2 things I would want more than almost anything else on a postseason roster, and that's what this club has. We all have fears because we've seen them and their valleys, and we've seen them at their lows, and we've paid more attention to this team than we have any other team in the playoffs. But make no mistake, this is a team that is top 10 in quite a few very important categories, and top 5 in a couple of those as well.
Yeah, and just kind of looking at what this team was in 2022 and how they were equipped heading into the playoffs compared to this 2025 team. Offensively, that 2022 team, even though they had a lot of really good players on it, hit 40 fewer home runs than the Mariners did this season. They have 238 in 2025. They only hit 197 back then. They drove in a considerably fewer amount of runs back then. Yeah, almost 70 runs total over the course of the season. And then also looking at the pitching staff in 2022, you had young Logan Gilbert on that squad. You had young George Kirby, who both of those guys didn't really have a ton of big league experience that year. You had just brought over Luis Castillo in a trade from the Reds, but you didn't have Brian Wu. No. Instead, substitute Brian Wu's 30-some-odd starts with what Marco Gonzalez gave you that year. That's a huge difference in terms of production. Robbie Ray made a ton of starts that year.
He was pretty solid.
He was pretty solid up until one pitch.
I was going to say that final pitch is kind of how people see his career in Seattle sometimes. He was actually pretty great for you.
Yeah, and so I think the rotation's better now than it was in 2022. Bullpen-wise, you had Paul Sewald finishing your games. That was not the Paul Sewald of the year prior where he was one of the best relievers in baseball. Still really good in 2022, but Andres Munoz is better, I think, than that Sewald in 22. Matt Brash in 22 was still kind of learning how to be a reliever. Had a really rough start to the season, then got sent down, brought back up, played a lot better. but Matt Brash in 25 is so much better than what he was in 2022. So if you're just kind of looking back and being like, well, that's the only playoff experience we have to go off of in terms of what this Mariners team can be like, I'm telling you right now, on paper, this 2025 edition of the Mariners should definitely put up a much better fight than what 2022 did. And look, that 22 team pushed the Astros harder than any other team did that postseason.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. You got one playoff game at home. Yeah. A single playoff game.
You
Game
get
3
at
of the
least
ALDS.
two.
You get at least 2 this time around, including, well, obviously the first 2, which is also a massive difference. All right, we didn't end up getting to the Seahawks, but maybe they don't need it right now. They're looking pretty solid. 3 wins in a row, 4 games into the season. I think Mariners fans probably wanted to revisit some of the best parts of this season before a massively important playoff series. Coming up next, if you got a question on your mind, sports, non-sports, it doesn't matter. We're ready to answer. So text it now to 866-979-3776. Next on your home for the AL West champion Mariners,
right.
Seattle Sports, and the Seattle Sports app.
It's been 24 years since
the 2001 Western Division champions.
Mariners Nation, you've earned this banner.
There's no better feeling than this. You know, we work so hard each day.
With a first-round bye in the bag, what's ahead for the AL West champion Mariners in the postseason?
It's a lot of great things ahead. I can feel it.
SeattleSports.com has the latest on the scenarios.
We're not done yet. We got a World Series to go get.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
Hey, Brock Ewart here for my friends at PCF Construction. You know, it was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, PCFgroup.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
After years of wear and tear, Joe had osteoarthritis in his wrists and shoulders.
I've pretty much worked out my whole life. I actually decided I'm going to train for a half Ironman triathlon.
The pain was interfering with every part of his life.
Basically, can't sleep, causing those kind of problems, very limited movement.
Joe had surgery, but it wasn't the fix he was looking for.
The doctor told me, he's like, hey, this is just going to be a partial fix. You're going to eventually need joint replacement.
That's when he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
And they're just getting better. I can basically do full motion. I don't have really any pain.
What kinds of things are you able to do now that you weren't before?
I like to golf, and it definitely has made my golf game not as painful. And sleeping. I'm sleeping better because I don't have that aching at night going on and having to roll over.
So, are you recommending this to others?
Oh, everybody I talk to. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours. The Bump and Stacy Show is powered in part each day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com. Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. 1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. Any question, text it now. 866-979-3776. What I Need to Know. If you're Pete Carroll, says one listener, what are you thinking right now? And then they added, I'm a beleaguered Raiders fan.
If you're Pete Carroll, I think he's like, I can do this. I can turn this around.
I was going to say Pete Carroll. If there's one thing that became very apparent about Pete Carroll in, 10 years of covering him, it was that it's not just talk. He really genuinely, intentionally has a competitive.
Yeah.
And then I think optimism goes hand in hand with competitiveness, because if you truly believe that you can will yourself to make things work, well, then you're working towards that. So I would guess that's how he's seeing it. I would guess that he looks at it and he goes, we can fix this thing.
His
just
belief
mindset.
in himself is unmatched. You will not find anybody that believes in themselves and believes in what they do more than Pete Carroll. And so I think he is unfazed by the start that they're off to.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is like, I can get this to where it was in Seattle. Do I think he can get it to where it was in Seattle? I don't think so. I think there's just what he started with in Vegas was so much worse than what he started with here in Seattle. So I don't think he's going to have the same kind of success there that he did here.
Ooh, mediocre slice of pizza or elite nachos?
I'm going to go elite nachos.
Yeah. Although
mediocre slice of pizza, I'm thinking like Little Caesars. And like it's still good.
That's the thing. My barometer for the pizza I'll eat, I don't think there's a bottom. Like there's no base. It's
elite
just
nachos though.
There's no floor.
Elite nachos, we're talking like a healthy amount of toppings on each individual chip.
I'm picking elite nachos.
Yeah.
Elite nachos for sure. But if I'm given the choice, straight up pizza or nachos, obviously pizza.
Sure.
What I need to know, is Detroit's manager on the hot seat if they don't win their wild card series?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, their trade deadline was kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say pathetic. It was not as aggressive as it should have been for a team that looked like the best team in the American League.
This is their second straight postseason berth after a lot of years without one. I forget how long their drought was before making the playoffs last year, but it was considerable. And the fact that they're back for a second straight year, yes, they have not won the division yet, but I think that A.J. Hinch is a really good manager, obviously, with his time in Houston. Can't believe he's already been in Detroit for 5 years now, but I think they have made enough strides over the last couple of years to him having more job security right now.
Yeah. Someone said, was JP leading off in 22? He's our 9-hitter now.
2022.
Who was leading off in 22?
It might have been JP. He had a 339 on base that year. It might have been JP Crawford. Let me take a
I looked
look.
up the lineup the other day because Kelnick was in it, right?
Yeah, he was in the playoffs.
It's so weird looking at that lineup now in hindsight.
Yeah. Let's see here. It would have been. I don't know why it's not. Here we go. I'm looking back. They've got Dylan Moore batting leadoff in one of the games in September.
That's crazy.
Let's see here.
So, like a wild card game.
2022 ALDS.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to go to the next question. What I need to know.
Had to have been JP.
Who are your picks to go to the World Series, and who do you have winning it? I'm going to remove Seattle from the conversation. If you want to say, like, I don't remove them. I genuinely am going to argue for them to win it all. It's just that's kind of what we've been doing for 15 minutes. If I'm taking Seattle out of it entirely, I'm going Yankees, Phillies, and probably Phillies.
The Phillies are just so put together.
Yeah.
Even without Zach Wheeler, they're the team I think that is best built from top to bottom. I am going to say
I think Seattle can do it.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees are the strongest team coming out of the American League right now.
I think so. I'll go Mariners, Phillies. Call me a homer.
I like that.
I'll go Mariners.
I like that.
Who was batting leadoff in Game 3 of the ALDS?
Yeah.
For the Mariners against the Astros?
Yes.
Julio Rodriguez.
I guessed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ty France, your number 2 hitter.
Oh, great question here. What I need to know, stuffed crust pizza, dumb gimmick, or delicious bonus?
Oh, delicious bonus.
Dumb gimmick.
Are you kidding me?
I don't like stuffed crust pizza because what I'm very
it's
particular about with
incredible.
pizza is that you eat down until there's about an inch of pizza left, and then you turn it.
And then it's more pizza.
And then you turn it and you eat it like breadstick style.
Yeah.
Combining the pizza with stuffed crust it's fine. It's delicious. I'll eat it.
It's incredible.
It's too much.
No, it's not.
It's a little excessive.
No.
It's gaudy, I think.
That's the beauty of it.
It's like a gold toilet. It's just, do you need that? It's kind of unnecessary.
You don't need stuffed crust, but that's the
Toilet's
beauty of it.
fine,
It's
like
like,
it was.
what a nice surprise. There's cheese in this crust.
I don't know about that one.
I love pizza crust on its own, clearly, but I will definitely scarf down some stuffed crust. What I don't like is other pizza companies trying to imitate the original, which is Pizza Hut. Like Papa Murphy's or like Domino's or...
Well, they don't have a hold on stuffed crust.
Yeah.
You know?
You got to find your own thing.
But there's only so many things you can do with pizza.
Each pizza place needs to find their own gimmick. You can't just copy other people's gimmicks.
Yeah, but there's only so many gimmicks you can have. You turn pizza into a calzone, done. You turn pizza into a dessert pizza,
there are about as many pizza combinations as there are Oregon Ducks uniform combos, okay? Like, there's an infinite number of pizza combinations you could make. It's like license plate numbers. You're never going to run out of things to put on a pizza.
You know what? I'm surprised that dessert pizzas never took off. They never became a thing. And companies have tried and failed to make them.
Papa Murphy's has their cinnamon wheel.
Yeah,
we had that last night.
But I'm just saying, like, most pizza places, the desserts are not pizza-themed desserts.
Right.
They're brownies or it's whatever. They don't have a lot that are like, hey, this is a pizza, but it's covered with chocolate and you have M&Ms on it.
Well, because cake and pie are superior to a dessert pizza, I feel like.
But what if my gimmick would be, instead of having pizza dough with dessert toppings, you take it to the next level and you make a real dessert pizza and you commit to it.
206 says Godfather's had the best dessert pizza. I know that's right.
What was the dessert pizza?
It was like it had cinnamon on it and it was and had frosting all around it.
I just feel like
it was really good.
It's 2025. We can elevate dessert pizzas. We should be growing as a society in that direction.
But see, there's so many other like dessert places out there. You got like Crumble and stuff, and it's just your dessert pizza as a pizza chain is really going to have to stand out in order.
Steve Jobs let other phone companies stop him from creating the iPhone.
You're going to be the Steve Jobs of dessert pizza.
I'm going to walk around in a little black turtleneck going,
Papa Murphy
more
himself
toppings.
is
shaking in his boots right now is what he's doing. All right, this is a Reaction Monday powered by the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course, and it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Dino was suffering from a rotator cuff tear in his right shoulder.
Part of the pain is like kicking off my shirt. I couldn't even really button my pants. I could actually qualify for a shoulder replacement if I wanted to go that route.
He chose to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the commercials for Dr. Wagner. I did my research. I thought about surgery, but the recovery time was so long, I didn't want to have to be in a sling. I want to be able to retire in a few months, get back to bike riding and playing golf without any pain in my shoulder.
Dino knew from experience that stem cell therapy works. Dr. Wagner had already helped him recover from osteoarthritis in his thumb, but he's not done yet.
And now 2 years later, I'm having an issue with my left shoulder, so I've got it scheduled, and I'm going to go back to see Dr. Wagner again because it was so successful.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle